3-year-old Magic Millions Classic. Our sporting bet market mover is sizzling, heavily backed. 380 into 280 on track. He's been the best back runners at the start.
And they're off and racing now, and No Looking Back was the first to come out of the gates, and Driefontein began brilliantly. She's a Stalker's going to settle third on the inside. Saluda came out fourth, followed by Nagura Burr. Lucky Hustler going up on the outside, followed then by Regular. Now worse than midfield, Lady Colours, Platinum State, Hossamore, Sizzling's back on the ruck, and there followed by Discreet, Ava Lady Luck. Grand Business a long way back with He's a Jet Setter and Caliente to the 900 metres mark. Driefontein the leader, and Nectar Saluta. An eighth and a half further back then was No Looking Back on the outside of She's a Stalker. Lucky Hustlers out deep on the track. A couple to Platinum State, and they're followed then by Nagura Burr. Regulars on the rail, followed by Hossamore. Sizzling, oh, he got on the heels there. They're followed by Discreet. Further back, Have a Lady Luck, followed by Lady Colours. He's a Jet Setter, Grand Business, and Caliente as last as they corner. Driefontein and Saluta led up for home from Lucky Hustler. No Looking Back. Hossamore and Sizzling has pulled to the extreme outside. Driefontein led Saluta coming to the 200 metres mark. They're two in front. Sizzling on the outside, and Hossamore starting to run on. Driefontein and Saluta together. Sizzling on the outside is motoring. Driefontein, Saluta and Sizzling. They hit the line. Saluta in the middle has beaten either Driefontein or Sizzling. It's a photo fourth. Regular, Nagura Burr and Hossamore are the ones in it, followed by Grand Business.
Yeah, Mark, obviously the horse is going well. They've been able to run on today, but
Draw track.
the big race coming up shortly from the Magic Millions for the 2-year-olds. The favourite on track is Missy Longstocking. Now, this is the horse that had to be vetted on Friday. They're a bit concerned about its action in front, but the horse passed that veterinary. $4.60 out to $4.80. Clever Dude, $4.20 out to $5. Others in the betting, Sweet Idea, 10 into 9. Real Surreal will be the horse finishing hard late, 6 out to $6.50. And Gratefully,
They stand well. Waiting on one. They're set and they're racing. Clever Dude bungled the start. He came out last. And the first to go into the great I'm Too Sexy's going fast. Sweet Ideas up towards the lead, and He's a Ladies Man began brilliantly. And when they settle down, He's a Ladies Man. Sweet Idea led. Certitude went up to third. I'm Too Sexy fourth. They're followed then by Going Fast. Illumina going up quickly on the outside. Choose a Saga's just back in behind those. They're followed by Ticket to Turak. Change of Honours back on the inside, followed by Global Dream. Missy Longstocking's a long way back, and they're followed then by Architect a long way back. Real Surreal can't go at all as they come to the home turn. Clever Dude is under the whip as they approach the corner, then Calcutta, and Gratefully is last of all as they come around the bend, and Architect, then Gracious Prospect making ground in the straight, and He's a Ladies Man, the leader, tackled by Sweet Idea. Certitude is 3 out, coming up on the outside. They're followed by Salumina. Choose a Saga next. Global Dream down the outside. Missy Longstocking's coming from the back, but it's Sweet Idea, the leader. Missy Longstocking, and Real Surreal is jumping up out of the ground, and Real Surreal got up and won the millions. Real Surreal from Sweet Idea, Missy Longstocking, and Global Dream. Choose a Saga back and behind them, and they're followed by Salumina.
Dude bombing it at the start. Real Surreal. You knew she would be the one that would be coming hard and fast at the death, and she had the good gate. And Carl,
swell about this galloper. Good money for it in the morning. 5-10, 2-10. Sweet Idea game in defeat. Missy Longstocking gave them a bid start.
So would Real Surreal was $6.50 into $5. There was good support for it. Michael Carl on board for Kelso Woods. And
Here, mate. Was the speed on from the gates, or did it slacken at any stage, or was it flat stick?
It felt like it was pretty sustained, Richard. They went very quick out of the gates as they always do in the Magic Millions, and I thought it was pretty well sustained. They didn't seem to steady too much to me.
Is this your biggest win, Michael?
Prize money wise, yes.
And how
it's a beautiful. The tennis is on the Australian Open just across town, and this is our feature, the Essendon Mazda Australia Day Stakes at Group 2 level, and no real changes to the betting of what we expected, Richo.
No, except you can get $2. You can get $2.15 with Pinwheel. Was $1.90, $1.95 when we did get on last night.
They're off. Caught them in a pretty good line. Pinwheel maybe a half length slow. Sea Lord pinged away from the barrier stalls, and undeniably Zeddy Knight began quickly. Pinwheel drives up and he sits outside of the leader now. Kunamu, Bonnie Mac adjust. At last of all, 5 lengths only covered them now. Undeniably about a half to a neck in front. Sea Lord with the rail. And deeper is Zeddy Knight. Pinwheel just off them. Bonnie Mac the rail. 1 Kunamu and a length away Outlandish Lad. Sea Lord narrowly with undeniably the outside. They're the leaders. Pinwheel no run at the moment. Zeddy Knight 3 wide. Bonnie Mac the fence. Kunamu starting to run on. Outlandish Lad last. They corner. It's Sea Lord the rail. Undeniably. Pinwheel desperately trying to find a way clear. Sea Lord a neck in front of undeniably. Bonnie Mac's run up to a pocket. Kunamu comes. Sea Lord kicks. Away from them. He's 2 lengths in front. Sea Lord. Mooney Valley 4 to 4 here. Beat either Pinwheel or Outlandish Lad, who grew wings late. They're followed by Bonnie Mac, undeniably weakened. Kunamu Loom didn't go on, and Zeddy.
He's a good trainer, Stephen Brown. He's got this horse.
TBN, I'll let you clear up all the totes, and we talk a lot on TBN about the
All set. They're racing. Kurashio, one of the first to bounce out. Thermal Current didn't jump well. He's going back. Also, Mongato's drifting back. And away quickly is Excitable Boy, but Kurashio led him early. It's Kurashio from Excitable Boy. And moving up, our singled out 3 deep in third. 2 lengths further back is the Bronx Magnaro. Mel's Pride the outside. 1 further back is Fast and Rocking. Thermal Current well back along the fence, awkwardly placed. Followed by Dissident and 2 lengths away Mongato. So Kurashio leads. Excitable Boy a half length away second. 2 lengths further back, our singled out hard-ridden third. Then came the Bronx and Mel's Pride Dissident. Thermal Current a fair bit to do from there. Kurashio led by about a neck into the straight from Excitable Boy. 2 lengths away Mongato and Dissident are coming right down the outside together. But Kurashio the leader. Excitable Boy under the whip can't reach him. Mongato could be a late danger. Kurashio, McAvoy's pulled the whip. Here's Dissident bursting through. Mongato died and he's run. Dissident grabbed the lead late. Dissident last stride beat Kurashio. Getting up for third, Thermal Current from well back. And Fast and Rocking ran on. Excitable Boy blew out on his run. Followed. Getting up for third, Thermal.
Well, fantastic form race this will be. Dissident, big, strong colt. You put them alongside Miracles of Life, and you'd see the size of the dog in the fight there for sure. But Dissident got the prize. Thermal Current probably should. Heap of good runs. Mongato just blew out, and certainly Fast and Rocking on debut. It's a good effort on debut, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. For a horse that clearly just by looking at him is going to improve with time and get better as he gets older. So a terrific debut here from Dissident. Thermal Current, the other moody runner, clearly unlucky. Nolan was in an awkward spot towards the rails, and then just before the turn, things opened up and the horses started to spread in front of him. And he probably thought, I'll be able to sneak through. Held his ground, and the seas just the walls just closed in around him, and that was the end of him. Had to wait.
He's very promising. He's a very promising horse. To do that at his debut and run through the line, you'd have to say he has plenty of upside. It's the best thing beat I've seen in a long time, the stablemate, Thermal Current. He got chopped out at the start, and then on the point of the turn, this is the business end of the race, he gets chopped in half again. You can see him there. He gets stopped in his track. All momentum's gone. And, we're a very, very important stage of a race here, and he's back to second last. It's an enormous performance, to pick himself back up. Look at him. He's left stranded second last here.
Yeah, he's come home well. Both those colts, nice colts. I like the way they got to the line. It's the right way to do it. They ran slower time than the filly did in the other division, and significantly slower, I think. But you'd have to say they did it the right way,
exactly,
Ronnie, and that's going to stand.
Thousand metres. They're set. They're off now. Miracles of Life in the middle of the line jumped away pretty well. In the early stages, Diamond Glow went right back. Montagu was trying to drive through on the inside, but Donna Madeira came across and had the lead. Curd a second, Swingboat third, and Montagu's getting right through near the inside. 2 lengths further back, Miracles of Life. She's settled down fifth, being followed by Bull Balar and then Mount Zero. A length and a half further back, Diamond Glow. They're being followed by Mystical Miss, and a distant last is Tango's Daughter. To the turn, Donna Madeira by 2 lengths to Kerr. Swingboat running third from Montague along the inside, and then Miracles of Life about 4 lengths away from the leader, and then Bulbula. And Mystic Miss has pulled right to the outside as they've entered the straight now. Donna Madeira joined by Kerr, who's hit the front on the inside. Here's Miracles of Life. She's let go up the middle of the course, and she's exploded to the lead now. Diamond Glow is starting to finish off well, but she's 3 lengths astern, and Miracles of Life is going to live right up to the wrap. She is very good. Won it by 4, Diamond Glow. Swingboat held third. Nat Zero's run fourth, and then Montague, Bulbula, who I think may have knuckled at the start, missed. Diamond Glow, Swingboat held third. Nat Zero's run.
Well, they're doing well and truly alive towards the Patnack Farm Blue Diamond, with Miracles of Life maintaining her unbeaten record, filly by not a single doubt, and a dazzling gazelle, and she was dazzling there yesterday for Lawrence Zajakovic and Dan Clarkin, and she's pulled up well this morning. Had a bit of a night out last night, apparently, a bottle of red and a glass of Moscato. Oh, happy days. But she was great. Look at these splits here. You'll compare them to the Colts and Gelding shortly, but a dazzling turn of foot at the 300 metres, and she put them to the sword.
Absolutely, Bruce. We've seen this filly, of course, in Adelaide, and showing a dazzling speed throughout her races. But coming over here, she didn't find the front, wasn't up there. There were a few people, I guess, raising eyebrows and wondering if she'd be strong enough to finish off over the top. But the speed was so strong, it really did set it up for something to come on with a really good turn of foot. And she had that, and didn't she have it in spades too? Look, they went bananas. And
that's Lauren's dad there in the middle, and then up the back you can see happy days for all of them. That's what racing's about. You can't buy that. That's just Iris Nielsen there, of course, who represents Tealy Assets in Australia. Rich, look at the size of this filly. 400 metres.
Yeah, well, about 30 minutes earlier, everyone was talking about Thermal Current, and then Miracles of Life blew them away in the fillies and ran much faster time. She looks pretty bomb-proof.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think
you wouldn't have to write her off or take her on the back of 3 totally dominant wins like that, and yesterday in a very strong field.
Well, she goes straight into the Diamond. She won't be running again before that. Gee, the Melbourne Racing Club's got a top operation here, because it'll change next week as well. That's the action from yesterday. At the top 3. Now, Politeness will run Friday at Moonee Valley. This is a Phil Fly-owned Street Sense.
Miracles of Life. She's let go up the middle of the course, and she's exploded to the lead now. Diamond Glow is starting to finish off well, but she's 3 lengths astern, and Miracles of Life is going to live right up to the wrap. She is very good. Won it by 4, Diamond Glow. Swingboat held third.
Very nice win. Lauren Stojakovic on board for Daniel Clarkin. She'd won 2 out of 2 in Adelaide. Really stepped up to the big time there at Caulfield yesterday. And winning trainer Daniel Clarkin is joining us now. Good morning, Daniel.
Morning, mate.
Very well. Great stuff yesterday. You must be dreaming about February 23 already.
Yeah, it is a bit of a dream at the moment. We've got to sort of have a good think about things, but it is a dream.
Daniel, going into your lightweight Galloway, but Baiji, now she's led in her races down there. I don't think those horses in Adelaide were quite fast enough to go with her at any stage, but sitting back there, was that your original plan, and to finish off like she did?
That was our original plan. I said to Lauren during the week, I said, there's a lot of speed in this race. There's a lot of first start horses that have had one start and then won one race, but there was a lot of speed, which was going to play for us because we drew so well. And I said to Lauren, there's no point driving her forward, just ride her where she's comfortable.
You've stuck with her so far in Melbourne yesterday. Lauren's 3 out of 3 on the horse. What does the future hold?
For Lauren?
For the horse and Lauren together.
Well, I reckon I brought 2 beautiful fillies to the races yesterday, and I would actually see 2 beautiful fillies to the races again on Blue Diamond Day.
You reckon if you took her off, they'd pull down everything in Adelaide, wouldn't they?
Oh, probably. Yeah, they reckon it was a big thrill there in Adelaide yesterday. The whole place was.
Well, if you're a up and punt, number 10 pick, there's nothing extravagant about her. She's bring here $1.28.
Well, there's only 5 runners, so obviously that's a little equal. She'll simply win.
Well, there she goes onto the track now. She's obviously not going to be fully wound up for a first start run, but this is only a 9.55 metre dash. She takes on the older horses a metre dash. She takes on the older horses, a 3-year-old filly with 58, which is not something you see all of the time this time of the year.
Very exciting filly. Got to give weight to the mares here tonight. Bounced out and led her in the early part, and Gold Rust got away well. But through the first 200 metres now, Sharmal Wind drove up and she goes to the lead narrowly. She's about 4 lengths covered them. Sharmal Wind only narrowly to Chinzia. A length and a half then Zipper the Ripper, who's 3 deep in third. Arrogant Cat next with Gold Rust under pressure and Lady Antebellum last. Sharmal Wind only narrowly. Chinzia's trying to go with her. The little filly on the inside about a half head in front coming around the home turn now. Boss shakes her up. Chinzia still stays with her. Sharmal Wind only narrowly to Chinzia. Gold Rust and Arrogant Cat. Sharmal Wind, she has to pull something out. Chinzia's about a head away. Sharmal Wind, she fights on strongly. Sharmal Wind, she's got in a half head. Chinzia, she had to fight, but she got there. Gold Rust a length away third. Close fourth, Lady Annabelle.
Well, if you're brave enough to take the odds on, you can open your eyes, you can get up off the couch, go grab yourself a stiff drink because, boy, you could tell coming to the home corner when Bossy just gave her a little niggle, there wasn't a big kick in the locker. And Chinzia,
The rail out 6.
and Chinzia,
The rail out 6 metres. Really.
Into the 2-year-old races. This is the Blue Diamond prelude for the Colts and Geldings, the boys, as we count down towards the Patnack Farm Blue Diamond in 2 weeks' time. Dissident Tote favourite.
They're racing. Dissident jumped well. Curacao beat him out easily, though, and pounced on the lead early. Marseille Roulette began reasonably well, as hustling through the inside, and the bowler showing plenty of speed as well. So after 200, it's Curacao deep out at the 800 metres. He's in a line of 3. Marseille Roulette the middle and the bowler retaining the fence. 2 lengths Harvard Graduate, followed by Dissident Fast and Rocking, and a length and a half away at the end Direct Charge. The bowler at the 600 with the rail, and Marseille Roulette on the outside. They're leading from in third place in Curacao 3 deep. 1 Harvard Graduate, 1 Dissident, then Direct Charge the rail. Fast and Rocking last, 4 lengths only covered them. The bowler soared along, led Marseille Roulette. Curacao wobbling off the track. Harvard Graduate getting a split inside it. Then came Dissident. Well on the straight now, and the bowler giving plenty. Led by a length, Curacao. Now he's balanced up. He's starting to come home. Dissident and Fast and Rocking wanting to lay in next. Curacao getting up to the bowler. Then came Dissident. Curacao and the bowler with 50 to go. Curacao getting home the best. Did a bit wrong, but won it from second, the bowler the inside, and third, Dissident on the outer. Followed by Fast and Rocking, worked home for fourth. A break Direct Charge.
Least likely, didn't he? But he gets surprised here today, Caroscio.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens at the end of the day.
Well, you got your fillies to come in the next, and you've kept on red there.
See what happens at the end of the day.
Well, you got your fillies to come in the next, and you've kept on red there, keen to take their spot. I think they'll get in with 27,000. Paralympic should get you about number 10 on the list. But the fillies, well, here's the chance for Guelph to walk the walk. The stable's been talking the talk. That's like Guelph first time down in Melbourne. They've got numbers 1 and 2 here, so let's take next weekend. So.
Taking on Peter Snowden's opinion here, aren't they? They've wound this out from 180 to 235, Guelph, and it's the other one. The other Daly runner's been the one that's
and Guelph jumps away well. And also going out quickly on the inside, Montagu driving up to look for the lead, and La Bellarine got away quickly, goes with her. Just in behind them, Guelph. She's not getting too far back today. She's 2.5 lengths away in third placing. Getting up on the inside is Drifting Cube, and they were being followed then by Godiva Rock, who's on the inside of Quest for Peace. And Blue Palace is back at the end. She's second last on the inside of More Than a Mirror. Going past the 600 metres now. And out in front is Montagu, a neck clear from La Bellarine, a length and a half Drifting Cube. And then Guelph on the outside, 2 lengths away from the leader. Followed by Quest for Peace as they came round the turn. And then Godiva Rock and Blue Palace. And last is More Than a Mirror. Around the bend now. And Montagu a length in front of La Bellarine, and Guelph is now called on for her run. Quest for Peace is coming down the outside, and Blue Palace was a wider runner. 150 to go. It's the Darley runners down to fight it out, with on the outside Guelph taking Montagu. Draws away. She is impressive. Guelph by a length and a half, Montagu. Godiva Rock a length away third. Quest for Peace ran fourth. Then there's a break in the field to Drifting Cube. Blue.
They screw it down here for the Patnack Farm Blue Diamond in 2 weeks' time. She lives up to the stable expectations. Guelph, they run 1:3.88, so about 3/10 quicker, and she was strong through the line, nailing Montagu, who's got to go to the 1200 next time. Just off what you've seen today, where might you end up with this team?
I'm really happy with them all, Bruce. You'd have to be. But I need to talk to the team and just see what their plans are, not just really look beyond.
Won it from second, the bowler the inside, and third.
Working off the daily sectionals adjusted times here, so it's 1:4.24 Caroscio, and we'll get to that adjusted for the fillies because of the discrepancy yesterday, which we've corrected. Look, did everything to get beaten there yesterday. Caroscio came out and beat a first start of the bowl. It was pretty well spruiked. Dissident good again, Fast Rocking good again. Not for me, the boys, at this stage.
No, and certainly not from that race. I can't see any of those winning the Blue Diamond. Curocchio with a fantastic win.
Rock a length away, third question.
Well, this was fantastic yesterday. Showed more technical speed at sectionals. Now, they won 4.02 is the adjusted time to daily sectionals, which puts them 0.22 quicker, not as wide a gap as it was yesterday. But her sectionals, outstanding here, Guelph, 22.58, 11.38, as you see them on screen there for daily sectionals. She's the real threat from the girls to Miracles of Life of what we saw there yesterday.
She's big and she's strong, and you can just see there in comparison to Montsegur how much bigger she is. And we often see with these 2-year-olds, especially this time of year earlier.
Going into that off a trial and a gym crack coming out very quickly there. So I don't think she was ever going to get that far back again. She's won 2 races now with plenty up the sleeve, and she's built like a tank. So she's got a lot of upside going in.
Credit to Peter Snowden. Guelph there. Let's talk about the fillies firstly. Guelph, what a lovely filly, picking up the Blue Diamond preview yesterday. Big, strong, muscly filly. She might be getting better all the time too.
Oh, look, she took the next step there. There's no doubt about it. Her racing pattern completely changed from Warwick Farm, where she was out the back running last. She learnt from that experience time, and that's the key with her. She's been set for the race, and look at her. She's just all quality, all quality. Great ride, Karen. There was a very, very good filly in this race. Godiva Rock having her first start. She just lost a bit of momentum there in the turn in the straight there in the Mick Kent Cup.
Of Life, the unknown Adelaide. Well, Daniel Clarkin told me yesterday this horse has not gone backwards following a workout yesterday. Thermal Current.
And there's this year's lineup, headed by Adabisi. Small field. Can make a case for 4 of these clearly. Let's go to the middle.
He speared to the front. Rescue Mission jumped away well. And he's holding second about a length away. And Big Buddy is third, the outsider, then Shanghai Warrior. One Outlandish Lad, Diplomatic Force, and Mr. Milton settled at the end. Inside the 800 metres, Adabisi by a length to Rescue Mission, a length to Big Buddy, 2 to Shanghai Warrior, Diplomatic Force along the rail, followed by Outlandish Lad and Mr. Milton last. Here in the 500 metres, Adabisi did it well, 2 lengths to Rescue Mission following him, 2.5 to Big Buddy, Shanghai Warrior. A further 2 lengths away, then Outlandish Lad, Diplomatic Force and Mr. Milton battling. Adabisi led, but Rescue Mission peeled off his back, and he's ready to go. 2.5 lengths, Big Buddy, and then Shanghai Warrior. Rescue Mission raced up to Adabisi at the 200, then Big Buddy and Shanghai Warrior. Rescue Mission the outside. He's leading only narrowly. Adabisi coming back, and then Big Buddy, Shanghai Warrior. Rescue Mission, Adabisi's coming back strongly. Adabisi's worried him out of it. Adabisi kicked him one of the nose. To Rescue Mission, and Big Buddy ran third. Shanghai Warrior fourth. They were pretty much in that order all the way. Then came out.
Well, terrific win here by the Queenslander. Adabisi looked to be at the mercy of Rescue Mission, top of the straight. If you thought it was Desley Forster winning here in Melbourne with the tough, the quick, and the very much resilient Adabisi.
Yeah, and
from coming up next, this is the Autumn Stakes. Some of the stars of the spring, or the emerging stars of the autumn, about to step out here. A really challenging race in terms of finding the winner, but a race you'll be watching from a form point of view the longer you go. Here's the market. High shot favourite on course. It's 460 at the 480 now. It's performing out the back in Waitangi.
Stand by. And at the start, High Shot straight out the back by 2 lengths, and Either World a little slow. Muldersem began very quickly with 5.5 Star right up there on the speed with him. No Smoke and settled down third. And settling fourth is Hausman, followed by Noidart, who's trapped a little bit wide. Then Super Cool on the outside, being followed by Havastan, 2 lengths to Red Inker, and then came High Shot. And 2 lengths further back at the end of the field today is Either World. Muldersem controlled it, led by a length to the railway side. 5.5 Star second, No Smoke and third. Hausman is fourth, and Noidart trapped out wide fifth. Further back, Havastan, worse in midfield along the rail, followed then by Super Cool. A length and a half to Red Inker, and then came High Shot. And Either World is last. Muldersem at the 600 metres, led by 3/4. The favourite putters will be pretty pleased with themselves so far. A length in front now, 5.5 Star. No Smoking is third, and then Hausman. Noidart's been doing it tough. Super Cool something to offer, held up, and they're followed by Havastan, and then High Shot and Red Inker. Around the turn now, Muldersem a length and a half. On 5.5 Star, Hausman, Noidart pulled to the outside, and then came Super Cool. But Muldersem inside the 200, led by a length and a quarter, 5.5 5.5 star. He stays on grimly. A break into Noidart and Red Ink and Mulderzem in front. 5.5 star trying to lift. Mulderzem's clinging on and Mulderzem got it a nick to 5.5 star. 2 lengths of photo, maybe Super Cool from Noidart in a photo for third, and then came Red Ink, a high shot.
His form now fit and rolling along on speed here. Didn't get much pressure, and he scores an important victory in his career because he's a magnificently bred colt. Mulderzem. Heavy good runs, obviously 5.5 stars, showing some dash and chasing all the way, and Super Cool's returned in good style. A lot to come from him, but to see Poi and rolling along in front. The Derby, Cornella's run second and third there. Obviously, they've come back in good style. Red Ink produced the best sectionals of the race. Got beaten, and Mulderzem fit now. He's a big, gross colt that he is.
That's right. He's taken some racing to get him into peak fitness and into this sort of level of race as well. Peter Moody, I think, has been a bit surprised with his level of improvement. I think he always liked the horse, but the way he's come on quite rapidly, especially off that Cranbourne win against the older horses, the way the race played out once again, first to out, first to home over the line. Mulderzem was great, 5.5 star, fantastic, looking towards longer races, and as was Super Cool. Really nice run, hit some traffic problems. Fast down also, probably should have.
Mulderzem, nice pedigree. This is a full brother to Seapoy.
Yeah, outstanding. He's outstanding pedigree. Look, the query is whether he runs a mile, and if that track was leader biased, so he could have been a little bit flattered, but he got the job done. He looks to have a touch of quality. 5.5 star was very good. First up since the Derby. He probably dispelled any doubts that his Derby win was a fluke. And of the others, Super Cool I thought was terrific there. First up, also first up from the Derby. The highly regarded.
About to find out. Number 1, King Mufasa. What a star he is, King Mufasa. Never gets
and he's done a lot of
record on the line here.
Yeah, and it'll be a terrific performance if he maintains it, because this is a bit of a jump going from the Seymour Cup into an await for age race here and take
the race without any doubt. He's at the 2.4 on course. Can he wind them up here, line them up in these new colours, the vinery colours, and run them down?
Well, the way I read the race is from that they probably would opt to go back and then let him run on like he did in. It's also Sammy's pick from the yard. So the only negative I can see anywhere is just this little worry about the racing pattern today.
Although I liked Wayne's competitive. It's not about the money; it's the prestige and the.
We're all set. Group 1, wait for age.
Bye, guys. Clear.
They're off. All Too Hard jumped away fairly well on the outside, and the first to show Pinwheel and Callanish. King Mufasa drives through and heads them settling into stride, and Mawingo's fourth on the rail from Lorimus, and then Wall Street, a length and a half, All Too Hard. He's third last, followed by Dance With Her, and at the end, Mr. Mo at a length and a half away. Inside the 1,000 metres now. King Mufasa on the inside with Callanish show the way. Not at a blistering tempo. Pinwheel 2 lengths away with Lorimus is outside. 2 lengths further back is Mawingo, being followed by Wall Street, a further 2 lengths away, then All Too Hard outside, Dance With Her, and Mr. Mowat was last of all. King Mufasa led it narrowly. Callanish going with him, and there stride for stride down the side at the 600. 2 lengths Lorimus, followed by Pinwheel. A length and a half to Wall Street, Mawingo. Then All Too Hard is about 7 off the leader coming around the home turn, and then Dance With Her and Mr. Mowat. So King Mufasa and Callanish turning the bend in front of Lorimus. Wall Street peeling out. In behind them, Pinwheel. Now All Too Hard. He's got to the outside, 3 lengths off, unwinding his run. Callanish and King Mufasa, they're together at the 200 metres to Wall Street. All Too Hard, he's starting to lengthen now. King Mufasa in front. All Too Hard gobbles him up. 100 left to go. The 3-year-old hits the lead, draws away. All Too Hard in front of Mawingo, who clashes home. All Too Hard beat Mawingo. There's the eye catcher, Mr. Mowat, storming home. I think he'll grab third ahead of Wall Street and King Mufasa. Lorimus, the next one to go over, followed by Dance With Her and Pinwheel. Callanish weakens, and he was just ahead of those horses.
Well, his star he is, and the star he's back. All Too Hard, he wins. There's flashing runs behind, no doubt. Mawingo and Mr. Moe are on track, but the 3-year-old beats the older horses here in. He hasn't put them away. He looked as though he just peaked on his run going towards the line here, but he's a
confident Wayne, done very nicely as well. Here's Wayne Hawkes.
Well, congratulations, Wayne, to you and your dad, and to Michael and Sydney, who's done a good job today already. Is it much a relief as anything seeing him win today?
You got that one right. They went across the line. Dad walked up and shook my hand. I said, "Gee, it feels like the Lonro days when you're." It was no worry. There's no better thrill than winning Group 1, as I told you before the race. But it was a lot like Lonro. But the pressure's on. But you just want to keep his record intact and make everything right.
Yeah, but I mean, Team Hawks really showed it well for you.
Yeah, it's been a pretty big build up to this week. Obviously, new owners now, and always had a big rap on him. And I just thought he'd be vulnerable first up. 1400 is a real question mark. And then when we drew the marble and 9 was made our job a little bit more difficult. But you have a lot of faith in these horses, and I know his ability, and I just need him to turn up 50% fit, and he was able to beat these. So, you know, he's a really nice horse. If he's going to end up going where we want him to go, he would have to beat these. So that's good he's done that today.
Sense there's some pressure there, and outwardly you don't seem to be a man who feels the pressure, but just give us an insight into what it's like and just the aura around this horse.
Well, you know, we've always had a big opinion on him from day one, and which that in itself puts a certain amount of pressure on the horse, and I suppose you could say us, but I've been lucky enough over, you know, a long period of time. You just get used to that sort of pressure. I mean, even yesterday, it's sort of more relief when they win more than excitement, you know. So, but, you know, as I said, it's just experience over a long period of time. And like, as I said,
Wingo.
Doing what the great Sam Rich Choice did, coming back from the Caulfield Guineas and winning an All Stakes first up, but doing also for Team Hawks what Yell and Lonro did all too hard. Good yesterday. Mwingo, Mr. Moe, excellent. Some other flashing runs there. Rich, to get your input into him here. There he is. And then
Good horses just do good things. And, you know, the good thing is that Black Caviar is about to come back, but this bloke's not just building, but built his own reputation. And I think he's starting to capture the hearts of the Australian racing public as well. So we've got 2 real big headline acts, Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask John, just a
touch, you know, the last 50 or 100, but
This is for her this time around. Mr. Murray was fantastic from the back of the field from an Australian Cup point of view. His run was great. I think John's already touched on Mwingo. Look, we all saw he was held up, but perhaps that bit of a check was just maybe flattered that turn of foot at the end. And if he would have got out, still think all too hard would have handled him comfortably.
Plenty of questions coming through for Johnny.
When he was behind the barriers, I actually got a bit nervous. I thought, you know, the other horse, Wall Street, wouldn't go in. I don't normally get too nervous, but I did. With the job done, job complete. Quote Peter Orton, quote unquote. I don't care what he runs in now. He said the job's done. Lonro won this race. The Choice won this race. Little filly of Ronnie's called what's her name? Oh, Black Caviar. Black Caviar won the race last year. Ronnie, did you know that? And then obviously the younger brother comes out and does it this year. Well, it might be the only race that Black Caviar ran in that this bloke runs in. So I mean, from a you can just see the stallion brochure just come together just nicely. So with a great.
Anything else out of that race just quickly? What's the best run outside of all too hard out of
Mwingo, look, Dwayne done shut the door on Mwingo. He probably should have really fought that finish out. And look, Mr. Moe was fantastic.
The Lonrose tie the knots last year, of course, Rain Affair. Centennial Park before that, he's going around in his 4th expressway. And Rangi Rangdu, the year before that, his stablemate Dan Lee, one of the tried and true weight for age stars here in the Expressway Stakes for 2013. $4 for Happy Galaxy, the 3-year-old against the older horses. $4.60 for Tougher Than Ever.
Harara came out fast, so too did Tougher Than Ever, but Harara's going to speed through and take up the running. And lead from Happy Galaxy is going to follow it through and take the sit behind lead. They're just going at an even tempo at the moment. Happy Galaxy 3/4 away second. Tougher Than Ever moves up on the outside into third, facing the breeze, and then Just Cruising, followed further back by Sky Train. He's saving ground on the rail. Then Centennial Park, Dr. Doom, Albert the Fat, and then came Dan Lee and Willie Jimmy last. They're preparing to turn now in the expressway. And the lead, Harara, from Happy Galaxy, moving up on the outside. He's pulling his way up to join him a length of Tougher Than Ever, and then Just Cruising, followed by Sky Train and Centennial Park. Happy Galaxy raced up and hit the front in the early part of the straight. Got the better of Harara, then Tougher Than Ever, followed by Sky Train and Centennial Park, but Happy Galaxy strode away, 100 to go. Sky Train's chasing him, but Happy Galaxy, boy, he's improved this horse. Happy Galaxy won it. Beat in second, Sky Train, Centennial Park got third, and then Tougher Than Ever, followed by Dan Lee, then Albert the Fat, followed further back by Harara. Dr. Doom was next from Just Cruising and Willie.
Oh, he's a very smart horse, number 10, Happy Galaxy, for Jay Ford. And Team Hawks, winner of Representative Stakes in Melbourne last start, and he's come out and really franked that, taking out a Group 2 this time here.
Park got third.
Doing what mentality did as a 3-year-old, winning the Expressway Stakes. He's come a long way, sure, Mark. 70 benchmark only 4 runs ago, and now he wins a Group 2 Expressway Stakes. 220,000 horses in training, ready to run sale, John. And since you bought him, he's been a work in progress, but good progression.
Yeah, he has. He's always had the ability, Bruce, but he comes through the ready to run, and Gary Moore and his sons bought him, and he's just been a lot of work. You know, we had him between Melbourne and Sydney a few times just to sort of get him to settle. And
Monash there, I reckon you'd, without looking at it, just thinking about it, I reckon he'd probably have 6 weeks in the paddock and you're getting ready for the spring. So the year, the years do come close, and so if he can go to the paddock and have 6 weeks off, as I said, maybe a missile or something first up, that'd be good to get in before the top horses.
2013 renewal. Whittington is the favourite for Gay Waterhouse. There's always been a big spruik on this horse. He's a lovely looking horse in the yard. We'll show you him very shortly, but he's fairly short. He is $1.80.
And Napashini missed it by about 3/4. Angus Rock came out slowly, so Napashini's gone back to last. Whittington came out fast on the inside. He'll hold the rail and lead from Never Can Tell, which has improved quickly up to second from Gale Force 10. Then Regimental Pride. Criterion being ridden along about midfield from Dowdston Charlie. Black Jacket can't get on the track, and then Luttrell, followed further back by Angus Rock and Napashini are about 8. The leader is Whittington at the 600, led here from Never Can Tell and Gale Force 10, and then Regimental Pride. Criterion still being niggled on the fence. And then further back as they make the home turn, Dowdston Charlie. Flak Jacket on the outside, and well back was Luttrell, followed by Angus Rock. Nakashini is still back last and under the whip. Couldn't possibly win from there. Whittington led, Never Can Tell coming up on the outside, trying to give it a race. It's a 2-horse race. They've sprinted away. Whittington on the inside, and the little fella Never Can Tell on the outer. Never Can Tell has got to the lead. Whittington tries to fight back, but Never Can Tell looks to have his measure close to home, and Never Can Tell beat Whittington. Criterion third. Then Regimental Pride, followed by Dowdston Charlie, Luttrell, and then came further back Flak Jacket, followed by Napish.
Never Can Tell in the gory colours for Anthony Cummings, just too strong for them in the Canonbury Stakes. Whittington, Widden Stud, they've obviously sent the mare Charlie to Warpath. Now, she had the one start, I can tell you, is overreached. Now, she had the one start in Melbourne in the spring. She was second in the Debutante Stakes to Villa Verde, who's gone on with the job. It is now the favourite for the Golden Slipper, and also overreached, finishing ahead of Kuroshio, who won the Blue Diamond Prelude for the Colts and Geldings last week. So great form around overreach, $1.50 favourite. So very, very short on course, $1.75.
And it is the market.
And coming out fast was the favourite, Overreach. She jumped about 3/4 in front. Brilliant Bisque coming up quickly on its outside to get to second, followed by Average and Mademoiselle. Most Joyful just in behind them, running fifth, settling down, and then Sweet Kisses right off the track, followed by Anna Sheed. Then Twice Shy in that group, 50 Shades of Grey. Thump didn't show any early speed, went a long way back early on. It's third last from Phil's Folly, and Miss Cheeky Charlie is last. The odds-on favourite led Overreach, led by a length on Brilliant Bisque running second, Average third, Most Joyful fourth, and then came in behind them next Sweet Kiss, followed by Mademoiselle, and then Twice Shy as they come around the home turn, where the leader is Overreach. Brilliant Bisque has just sat off it in second spot, about to hook out and let loose, and then came Average. Overreach in front now, gun by Berry, and opened up and raced right away. Oh, she's pretty good. She put about 3 or 4 lengths on them. Average is second, followed by Brilliant Bisque, and then came Most Joyful, and further back was Sweet Kiss, but this is very, very good. Overreach, she's out in the centre of the track. She's a little bit lost, but she'll win it by about 5 lengths on Average. Brilliant Bisque got third, and then Sweet Kiss, followed by Most Joyful, and then Mademoiselle. Thump was next, followed by Twice Shy, and then Phil's Folly, followed by Anna Sheed. 50 Shades of Grey, and Miss Cheeky Charlie was always out the back.
Oh, she's very, very smart. Number 5, Overreach for Gay Waterhouse and Tommy Berry. Well, that would have given Tommy a really good feel of a good filly. Look at that. 1 ear forward, 1 ear back, just like So You Think. Black Caviar, she could be something pretty special. Tommy Berry certainly thinks so. Having a look at those pictures, Overreach. And, gee, I'll be interested to see the Golden Slipper markets now with Villa Verde.
Spectacular, didn't it? Exceed and Excel filly, first up since we saw her in Melbourne. Getting beaten there by Villa Verde, who we'll see an exhibition gallop today, beating 2 well-performed ones by a clear margin, quicker time than the boys, and obviously onwards and upwards, Rich and Mark, towards the slipper.
Yeah, look, obviously she's come back in great order. I don't think she ever looked happy in that Melbourne run, but Villa Verde looks to be the benchmark, and I think this girl's shown that yesterday. She come home a little bit slower than the boys, but she...
in that race, but look, I think you forget about that run in Melbourne. I don't know if Villa Verde is better than him, because she dead set went sideways for 5 furlongs. So back the Sydney way of going yesterday, she was dominant, and it'll be interesting to see Villa Verde how she goes, how she adapts to the Sydney way, because this is a very, very smart filly.
The reports, Mark, prices went up in like 2
point in time. It's exciting days. Gay said it last year about Piero, and I'm going to say it this year. This is a Golden Slipper horse that
whether she wins it. But that was pretty impressive, and she was still very green in the straight. But you've seen how emotional I was at the end because we've had a big hype on this horse for a long time, and Gay's taken it.
Whittington Criterion third.
Americans taking the other Daly Melbourne squad to target the slipper, and you would think off that call that's their number one pick towards the golden slipper.
You'd have to say.
Kiss. But she'll win it by about 5 lengths on average. Brilliant Biscott third, and then Sweet Kiss.
She's really good. She's absolutely outstanding. The way she...
Betting after that race. Very nice filly by Exceed and Excel.
Well, she's confirmed one thing that I've suspected for a few months now, and that's that Villa Verde is outstanding. She beat this filly, and obviously she's at home now over Each. It's a whole new ball game, and she's resumed in lethal style. Outstanding, and a show of emotion from Tommy Berry just on that performance alone. Yeah, look, I don't know, Gay will probably give her one more run. That's all she'd need. She looks pretty forward here and gets the job done and looked very, very sharp. Can't knock.
Program. This is the Royal Sovereign Stakes for the 3-year-old colts and geldings, and some really interesting form lines coming through here. We have Rebel Dane as the favourite at this stage for Gary Portelli, unbeaten, 3 from 3, and the winner of a couple of trials as well at $3, $4.60 in from $6 for Ashakan, and $3.60 into $3.30 for the New Zealand 2000 Guineas winner in number 1 Sacred Falls for Chris Waller. And this is, as I said, the top New Zealand horse as a 3-year-old, 6 from 6. He is unbeaten. Spring, as I said, in his trial particularly well. He looks great.
Yeah, look, this
Ready, they're off and racing now. Akidi's jumped out fast. He went to the early lead from Asher Cannon and Norius, and Casino Swoop is now starting to come out of the pack, and it wants the front. So Casino Swoop led, Asher Cannon on the outside of Akidi's, and then Rosambo, followed by Honorius. Tax Me If You Can. Sacred Falls has got a long way back in a slowly run race here, followed by Attaboy Ross, and Rebel Dane's right out the back last of all. Casino Swoop kicked up and went nicely clear now, led by about 2 lengths in Akidi's, and then Asher Can on the outside. Followed by Tax Me If You Can. Rosambo in the middle, followed by Honorius, and then came further back Attaboy Ross. And Sacred Falls and Rebel Dane are back second last, and it hasn't been run to suit either of them. Coming around the home turn, and the leader is Casino Swoop. Urquides is tracked up behind it. Asher Can was next. Sacred Falls is trying to push out into the clear. Then Tax Me If You Can. Rebel Dane is the widest. Urquides went out after Casino Swoop and hit the front now with 300 to go. Then Asher Can. Rebel Dane coming right down the outside. The leader is Urquides from Rebel Dane, who's charging after it down the outside. Urquides in front. Rebel Dane, will he get there in time? Urquides is fighting on. Rebel Dane lunges on the outside and got there on the line. Rebel Dane, an amazing win, beat Urquides and Tax Me If You Can. Then came Asher Can, followed by Attaboy Ross, Sacred Falls, and then further back Rosambo, Honorius.
Well, that was most impressive. Rebel Dane for Jason Collett. He has just blitzed them in the end. Gary Portelli certainly has a very, very smart colt on his hands, and ridden well by Jason Collett. As much
a lot of owners in this horse, but he's the real deal now.
He is indeed an Urquhart on the line.
Still can't believe it. 4 out of 4 homebred there for Laurel Lake Thoroughbreds and Louis McCarthy. A great team of people, getting a lot of people involved in racing. Well, the win's no surprise, but it was how it happened, Rich, I think, was more of the story.
Well, that was race 5. Nothing on the day in the first 4 races had made up ground. Gary Portelli thought it'd be up outside the leader. I thought it might well be in front or sitting outside Casino Swoop. To see it last, it couldn't possibly win the way the race was run. He'd had to come around the lot. I just reckon that last little bit, and he's done it a few times. Remember that day he only beat Pacific Choice? He wasn't going to get there, and he kind of gets his eye on the other horse and just attacked it. And he rolled in that little bit at the last 50 and just...
First came, I thought he might get him, and then just at the 100, I thought, oh, geez, I might have gone off a bit early there. And then he just lunged down. He wants to win that horse. It's as simple as that. Everything went against him there. They walked in front, wasn't entitled to win. He's potentially a Group 1 horse, there's no doubt.
Because the horse is...
Fantastic performance to win from so far back. He's now won 4 out of 4, and Ron probably still not all there mentally.
I tell you what, that was a scary win. Before that race, they had the 2 2-year-old races. Not one horse had passed a runner. It looks so biased, but obviously this horse, in a slowly run race, has come from last and rounded up a good field. He is 4 from 4. There's not much of him. He's a little fella, and he still probably lacks a little bit of maturity. So all goes well for the future. Don't know how far he can go this time in when he sort of hits a horse like Piero. But Who's to
$4.60 favourite, but just as I was about to say that, glance down, $4.60 into $3.60. Equal favourite is number 1 Dry Fontaine. So.
And Driefontein broke very quickly. Longport was showing good speed, and so was Ichihara on the outside. They're all vying for the lead, followed by Flying Snitzel and Secret Delight, and She Rocks My World. Bonetta was next. Will settle into a nice spot midfield, about 4 or 5 off the lead. Dear Demi behind it from Jade Marauder, and Brave Soul is last of all. Ichihara burnt across and took up the running and led from Flying Snitzel up running second. Driefontein in the box seat third. Longport trapped out wide, and then She Rocks My World, Secret Delight. Bonetta tracking up 3 wide, so it's got a nice trail up into the race, followed by Dear Demi, Brave Soul, and Jade Marauder at the rear. It's Ichihara, the leader from Flying Snitzel. Driefontein is third, followed by Longport as they're preparing to turn. And then further back behind them next is Secret Delight. Bonetta's taken to the outside. It's Ichihara held together in the early part of the straight, now being asked for its effort. It led from Flying Snitzel and then Driefontein. Bonetta's starting to really put in the long strides now. She's coming hard. It's Ichihara in front, but Bonetta gobbled it up on the outside. Bonetta raced up to the lead. Oh, it's been a big day for the owners. And Bonetta's coming away and beats Ichihara. Dear Demi got third. Then Driefontein followed by Flying Snitzel. Further back behind them, Jade Marauder, Brave Soul. Over the line now.
Well, very good performance. Bonetta, she was a quality-looking filly, but I think there are a few more to follow coming through the Lightfinger Stakes this year. James McDonald, the winning rider for Graham Begg, and she is all class, as you can see there.
I'm walking over to James McDonald, who's just chatting with the Alamonte.
Well, that was pretty good. Takes the next step there, gives George Altamonte and Carabin Stud 1-2. This will be a good form race, Rich. Dear Demi, outstanding. Lot to like about this race overall.
You know, she had to. She was kind of like Rebel Dane in the previous. She was going to have to rate. She'd come through different form lines to a lot of the others who had met last year, but she's very good, Mark. She hadn't had much luck. Then the day she beat She's Historic at Canterbury.
really talented. She's an outstanding filly. She's got a lot going for her. I think we stood up and took notice when she...
Kids at the track wearing salmon and black. That's good stuff, isn't it? And the saddle cloth that will be worn. The main event, which is interesting. Stakes racing coming up here now. Let's have a look at the Vanity. And this brings together a good lineup of fillies. And the market tells us that it's an open race. Best tried here has been You're So Good, who has been $4 into $3.70. So
Ready? They're off now. Petite Diablos missed it by about a length or so, otherwise not a bad sort of a start. And Royal Scandal, one of the first to bounce out, retaining the inside and spending it, got away well. She's up there also. And on the outside of them, Kokomar just easing back, and You're So Good now splits them and goes to the lead, the favourite. Back behind those, So Good had the lead. Kokomar is up there in second, placing a half length away with 800 left to go. Royal Scandal with the sit behind them and spending is fourth, and Kazan Luck No Luck is caught 3 wide. Then came Leg Cut, back about 7th near the inside from Nadim Lass and Elzora. Petite Diablos, she's third last after missing the jump. And then Barlick and Are There Any? They've bunched. They haven't run it really hard mid-stages now, and Kokomar had moved up on the outside to have a crack at You're So Good, who had the lead. Royal Scandal going for an inside run. Kazan Luck joining in. Spending is behind these, but she's under a lot of pressure. She's not responding. And Elzora's running on, and Barlick's right down the outside. You're So Good at the 200 had the lead. Elzora's running on well. Kazan Luck's boxing on, and then Barlick and Petite Diablos. Elzora's race to You're So Good. You're So Good, and Elzora. Petite Diablos diving at them. Elzora, the middle, just wins it from You're So Good, and Petite Diablos was the run of the race after missing the start. Barlick got home nicely. Kazan, she's at the end of the field.
tough win. This is your photo print coming up to prove Elzora is the winner.
By halfway up the straight, she'd done enough.
There's a slight worry, but let's get the stats done first. Elzora, 115,000 renewed choice filly wins.
The CS Hayes, and as David just told us, it would have been CS's 90th birthday today, and he's got runners here. Well, David has, in the shape of Bass Straight, favourite on course. So Albrecht, big move here for Albrecht, 4.6 into 340.
Everything else has been on the drift. Market mover, number 2, Albrecht.
Albrecht, 460 into 3.3, as low as $3.
They're set now. They're racing. And it's caught them in a pretty good line. High Esteem, one of the first to show. Force Command breaking the line. Away quickly is Philippi right up there in the early part, and Pins of Pele as they settle down. Force Command is doing some work at the 1200 metres. He leads with Pins of Pele in the middle. Philippi lets them go, gets the trail, and then Sheer Talent getting into a good play back to last. And he's about 12 off the leader at the 800, which is Pins of Pele. Second, Force Command on the outside. Sheer Talent and Philippi are next, and they're trailed 2 lengths to Hosting. Blue Cap on the outside. Followed then by High Esteem and then Lunar Rise, Practicality, Bass Straight, Gerontius. And Albrecht is last with a fair bit to do, and he's peeling out very wide into the straight. Pins of Pele has the lead from Force Command. He led by about a neck. 2 lengths to Sheer. Talent starting to run on, and Hosting is now starting to work home well. Followed by Lunar Rise. G. Albrecht hasn't passed many of them. Bass Straight is out there with him. Sheer Talent raced up now to Force Command. Hosting on the outside of them. High Esteem going for a run. Philippi's boxing on. Sheer Talent hits the lead. Sheer Talent with Hosting coming at him. Sheer Talent about a neck in front of Hosting, and Sheer Talent got in. Sheer Talent won by 3/4. Force Command kicks up on the inside, probably gets second ahead of Hosting. Philippi and next over, followed by High Esteem. Bass Straight made some ground. Albrecht never really looked to hope. He was followed in by...
Good day for Mark Kavanagh and Steve Baster. They get a double here and have the best run in transit. 1 out, 1 back, Sheer Talent. And the driving finish, Big Six is looking big. Cost 350,000. Was he a spec job, or do you like?
Apparently I said Mark Caviar yesterday and just got blinded.
Command's got something. Hosting's ready to peak. Third up. He's had 2 runs back now. And I like Philippi there. He was only first up here. He just couldn't sprint. He's little dour. Wouldn't mind seeing him in Sydney on a Derby prep. The best of the finish.
Possibility, but we'll wait and see what they go there. As we've told you at the start, all too hard to run next week and then run in the Guineas. That's the picture as it stands right now.
Well, plenty of fans from all over the world here to see Black Caviar. Edward and Bill have come from America. Now, Edward, that's fantastic, Edward. Now, what if she wins today? Is there another tattoo possibility?
There's going to be
As well in his career, Black Caviar wearing number 6 saddlecloth for the Black Caviar Lightning. The betting, well, it's $1.10 out to $1.10 on course. Runners in the yard for the Black Caviar Light.
He's right, Mark.
There she is, Black Caviar. She got a mighty round of applause when she came out of the tunnel here and onto the walkway under the track here. The demeanour looks like the Black Caviar evolved. She that languid walk that she has, and of course everyone knows the record.
And what more can either of us say? I mean, we've been. If you didn't know that beforehand, you'd only have to be here looking around at this crowd now to understand what a draw card she is, and she's getting a few bursts of applause as she goes past various groups of people who've all got their mobile phones out trying to get a picture of this amazing mare. All right, the betting here, if you're interested, 107 out to 110 for Black Caviar, 17 out.
Take a bit of pressure valve off you and release a bit of that steam between the moody ears.
Yeah, well, this is probably a little bit of a new chapter, isn't it? You know, been there, done it, got the job done. You know, the next chapter unfolds. So, but listen, very pleased with her. Happy to be here.
Minute warning to Black Caviar going for her 3rd straight Lightning win, and just to continue this amazing story of an amazing.
They're set. Sing. Black Caviar jumps well down in gate 2 alongside of Golden Archer and also Moment of Change. And Sham Express had begun pretty well. Go the Knuckle dropped in. Satin Shoes are showing speed out wide on the course. And so too Scent Express. And First Command drops in for the trail. They stretch across the track after covering about 300 metres. Black Caviar in control down near the inside. She's in front of Sham Express in the pink colours. Moment of Change and Golden Archer on the inside of the great mare. Satin Shoes is out wide on the course. She's being sooled along at this point, followed by Go the Knuckle, Scent Express, First Command. Black Caviar completely in control. It's the Black Caviar of old, all right. Coming to the 200 metres, 2 to 3 lengths in front. Luke Nolan hasn't moved on her. It's awesome. She's clear then from Moment of Change and Golden Archer, but she's back. And the legend lives on. Black Caviar by 2.5 Moment of Change. Golden Archer's run 3rd. Moods is trifecta to the course. Then Satin Shoes and Go the Knuckle. Sham Express, Set Express and First Command.
That's something special. 55.42 under a throttle hold. She's invincible. Win number 23. A privilege to be here and watch it. And a great performance from all at Moody Racing to get her back after the injuries that she suffered and how that she is to deliver an equine athletic performance, which also breaks the record.
Broken the course record.
Course record's gone.
She's broken Special's course record, coming back from injury. Absolutely hard held. If it's possible, Sammy, it's as good a win as she's had. I mean, she's broken the course record. Where's Peter Moody? Go to.
Just give us your impression of what you just witnessed.
I said to my girls, I think it's the first time I've been nervous for a long time. I suppose it's been the 7-month wait, but just so proud of her. Proud of Tony Hayden and his team at home. A little bit emotional for the first time. It's just shit. It's good to have her back.
But in more ways than one, Pete, because it's the on-track performance she delivers. It's what we see around her today, which is so special for all sport, not just racing.
She's just a good news story, and very grateful for the owners that are prepared to share it with everyone. I think that's very much understated in this whole story. The owners, imagine having something this good. Imagine having something this good and sharing it with every bugger in Australia. They're true blue Aussies, aren't they?
For you to be the only bloke in the world who gets along for the ride, which looks so special out there today.
Yeah, it was, and just to put the fear there, didn't drop my hands on her today. I think she was knocked around a little bit by the heat today. It was pretty warm, and mare seemed to cope worse with it than the male counterparts. And she didn't toe up like she can through the early and middle stages, but sort of when she swapped stride and then she towed into it nice. And I just give her a squeeze because I didn't want to get too complacent. We're through 23 and I copped too much of a kick in the arse for it in Ascot. So I just shook the reins a little bit today and made sure she went through the line.
You're surprised how much was there, though. I mean, it must have given you a fantastic feel.
It does, but because you're out there on your own, and it is a big track, Flemington, when the rail's back to the true, and the wind going about, you don't get a real appreciation about how quick you're going. I had a little look at the time when I rolled back in. I said, yeah, she might have gone a bit quicker than I thought.
Track record, like.
Yeah. Well, we thought we ran it last year. I don't know. She didn't break any sub-10s in that one, did she?
I don't know, Luke, but she's gone fast enough. And did you get a chance to save it? You just couldn't put words into how it felt there yesterday.
A totally different vibe, Bruce. Good morning to you and everybody at home. The lead up to the race, the build up. We've seen it before with Black Caviar at Flemington. The crowds come to see her race and come to see her do what she did yesterday. But there was that little bit of, I don't know, extra anticipation. Was she going to come back? Was she going to be as good as she was? I think she's every bit as good as she was. And the relief and the celebration afterwards, people would just turn to the people next to me and say, how good was that? And you're just immediately looking forward to the next time we can see her at the race.
For the kids, but I thought it was summed up by a bloke that sent me a tweet. He said, Richie, I love my Saturday arvos with mates at the pub on the punt, but Black Caviar has ruined everything for me. Now my missus and kids love racing.
Great stuff.
To sit there till 4:30, but it was just an absolutely fantastic day.
Because a build-up that's longer than a day, isn't it? Because it's been 8 months in the making of getting her back after being told she'd never race again. Attacked by bees, we've since found out. Made the trip back. It's a real story to some extent.
It is, and as I've often said, we'll probably sit back when 20 years from now and sort of sit back as a group and look at each other and have a quiet scotch with each other and just think about yesterday and every other race we've
Just
had.
taking those scenes, Gary. I mean,
Just amazing.
the people.
At this point, followed by Go the Knuckles, Scent Express first command. Black Caviar completely in control. It's the Black Caviar of old, all right. Coming to the 200 metres, 2 to 3 lengths in front. Luke Nolan hasn't moved on her. It's awesome. She's clear then from Moment of Change and Golden Archer, but she's back and the legend lives on. Black Caviar by 2.5 Moment of Change. Golden Archer's run third, moves a trifecta to the course. Then Satin Shoes and Go the Knuckles, Sham Express.
Just to let you know, that's 7.1 million in the tank. 9-year-old man, geez, he's aged overnight. Last time I checked, she was 5. 13 Group 6. 13 Group 1s. That's one shy of Kingston Town, the all-time record. But that's just for the stats players. There's the sectional times. They're smashing. Specials records gone. That was set in stone. You just watch this with great admiration of a supreme athlete here, Sharp, don't you?
The stats and the records one thing, but just sit back and be captivated by what is clearly one of the best horses that has ever raced in Australia and the world as well. She's just unbelievable to watch. It puts a smile on your face, and it doesn't matter if you back her, you can't back her $1.15, or you can like Richard if you've got enough money, or like Richard. But As a sporting spectacle, it doesn't come any better as far as I'm concerned.
Now, as you watch,
Well, I was just trying to work out the sectional from the 400 to the 200. It's got to run at about 10.16 from the 4 to the 2. She just does it so effortlessly. But I think also part of a great training effort for Peter to get the trifecta. Moment of change. How good did it go?
well, it'd be mighty hard to beat in the Newmarket with a 9-kilo turnaround on Black Caviar if she went there. You'll take up that challenge, won't you, Gary?
I don't know. I think we'll leave that one to Peter. That was just a great effort yesterday. So I don't know about the new
Day of racing around Australia, but we certainly know what the highlight was. The amazing Black Caviar there at Flemington, winning the Lightning Stakes in track record time. Just incredible. 13 Group 1s now, $7 million in prize money. The first horse to win the race 3 years in a row. It seems she can do the impossible, and we'll talk to watch the great mare.
They stood as one and cheered, and as someone said to me yesterday, losing days on the punt don't come any better than that. Anyone that lost surely went home with a good feeling watching her. She was just poetry in motion. That was back to her brilliant best as we know her, and she deserves that 1,000-metre record at Flemington.
Yesterday?
Oh, there's always relief, as you could well imagine. But we were very confident it's a matter of the leg, and she'd be back. But to be back as she's come back, it's just extraordinary.
Yeah, look, the thing that gets me with Black Caviar is what she does for racing. And if you see her just walking around the yard yesterday, and look, everyone's got their cameras and phones and videoing her, and look, this is just amazing scenes. We love her when she races, but look what she does for racing, drawing this new crowd in. Even the staff here taking their videos. Look, I did this when she was in Sydney for the TJ Smith, and I treasure just having that little bit of vision of her. It's just amazing what she's doing for racing at the moment.
It's absolutely fabulous, isn't it, eh? I mean, not only the horse, but the trainer, the jockey, the owners. I mean, I'm an owner, and I could get near her yesterday in the mountain yard, which was fantastic. It's just so great to be able to be part of this and share it with the public of Australia. I mean, it's a race. I don't know. I'm not
If Black Caviar went in a Newmarket, would be moment of change. He's probably its second best horse within the stable. Horse will definitely go to the Newmarket now that it's had the run down the straight. And Golden Arch is on the way to Sydney, Duff. It'll be aimed towards the Galaxy. This is the latest market for the Newmarket. A doubtful. We'll wait to see what happens this week when the weights come out on Tuesday.
TV, of course, covering also Dubai and the countdown towards, well, their big carnival now. It's international carnival. It's not just counting down. This is a great race in itself. But good to see Mental. It's been a tough ride for the daily transport. Horses have been transported to Dubai in recent times. But here's one on the board here for Mental.
Again, giving them something to catch, but he is working. Ballista holding the fence. They're a length and a half over SQ Love. Kavanagh about to get into the clear, followed by the Bowie Sound, and now the Australian Mental is coming on the outside. Kavanagh got to the front. Mental and Krypton Factor are running him down. Kavanagh's the leader. Mental's moving on the outside. Mental boots up, cancelling, and Boomerang, Mental big count.
That's the unofficial service, of course, there. Mikhail Barzalona, the winning jockey here on the Australian Mental. So there you say, yeah. And Al Varuni trailing it. It was not Saeed bin Saror, but all part of the Godolphin team here. Good tough win, wasn't it, Sharp?
Absolutely, particularly on a surface which we could assume is not Mental's preferred surface. We've certainly seen him race a bit more dynamically on top of turf surfaces, so that's all going well for him heading towards that Dubai Carnival. But he beat some nice horses there. Kavanagh's got good ability.
Krypton Factor won the sprint last year.
Well, Krypton Factor you could almost say he's the benchmark on that surface anywhere in the world as far as the sprint's concerned. He's very, very effective. So he did a really good job there, Mental. There's more to come from him.
That was good to see.
He likes to.
Another big rain shower's just come across the racetrack here. We're up to the feature race, so this is the Apollo Stakes. A Group 2 weight for age race, and Glencadam Gold, well, he has been the favourite in early markets. He's just been a little bit of a drifter here for the Gay Waterhouse stable. Of course, Chris Waller with 6 runners, Gay Waterhouse with a few as well. Glencadam Gold out to $4.80 as Laserhawk comes in from $6 to $4.20, the half brother to Desert War. Number 1 is out. Number 2 is Dan.
I say, and he's probably
the forward of the most forward of the horses. Up $10, it'd be hard to split, but I'd be going for the proven wet trackers such as your Killini and Gatewood. Well done. Thanks.
We can't even see out here. This rain is very, very heavy. Brian York, you had a good
one because I cannot see a thing. I cannot even see the barrier stalls. I've lost him completely. I bought the bigger set of glasses today. Looks like they're set and they're off and racing now. So coming out well, Killini, Monton going up and it's in a handy spot, and Laser Hawk and Tougher Than Ever making ground out wide. So it looks like Laser Hawk and Tougher Than Ever will settle in front as they travel a couple of 100 metres. Just in behind them is, it looks like Laser Hawk and Tougher Than Ever are sharing the lead from Killini and Dr. Doom. Monton's being pushed along in the middle, followed by Albert the Fat. Gatewood's out a little bit wider. Glencaddam Gold not travelling all that well. He's being hard ridden, followed further back by Centennial Park, Willie Jimmy, and Danley's back on the inside as they come for home, where the leader is Tougher Than Ever. Tougher Than Ever led from Alma's Fury on the outside. Laser Hawk's under the whip and dropping out, followed further back by Killini. Willie Jimmy saved ground of the inside is starting to run on, and then Gatewood. It's Tougher Than Ever in front with Alma's Fury coming at it on the outside. Danley sneaking up on the inside. Tougher Than Ever and Alma's Fury and Danley, but Alma's Fury on the outside hit the lead, and Alma's Fury won it from either Tougher Than Ever or Danley, and then Willie Jimmy followed further back by Killini, Gatewood, and then Centennial Park. Then Laser Hawk, Albert the Fat, Glencaddam Gold dropping out with Monton, and at the rear of the field was Dr. Doom.
Alma's Fury takes out the Apollo Stakes for 2013 in terrible conditions. Torrential rain is Finson 9 minor placings, Paul Murray and Blake Shin combining. So Blake Shin.
The water's got nowhere to go, but when we, at about, would have been about 11 o'clock, we just got two huge showers, and then the biggest shower of the day came just as the horses were behind the barriers marking the Apollo, because in the earpiece, Bruce.
From either Tougher Than Ever or Danley.
They said it wouldn't handle a wet. Well, the trainer, that was one. Mark, how bad was it to call that race? I mean, I know you weren't guessing there at all, but on the TV it looked impossible. Was it better through the binoculars or not?
Well, I've called two races where I couldn't see them, and you could see the blinking lights at the start. I couldn't even see the blinking lights, and I looked at the TV and there was more. See them now, and then I went to the binoculars and they were a furlong from where I was looking. So I did have a few problems, but no, it was pretty bad. It's probably the worst I've had.
Well, you could have got your fellow race caller there, Richie.
Running numbers.
Residual fitness helped her as well, so it might have been just that the conditions were so tough on the day that the fitter horses won the day.
Shin back in the saddle too for Paul Murray. That was run in terrible conditions. The track was a heavy 10 by that stage.
Yeah, look, impossible, and in blinding rain, as we can see there. Look, impossible to use it as a future form reference. Some horses didn't like the rain. And
for Streamer, 5 into 480 for Hood and Stratford.
Recovering quickly to go up on the outside, just cruising and Hyper and on the lookout in prominent spots, and Stratford down to the inside. Then Ideal Position and Hood went back to last of all. They're clumped right up in the early stages here, and just cruising went through to put its head in. Hyper just in front of on the lookout. Stratford saving ground on the rail. Ideal Positions in between horses. Then just cruising followed by Hood. Streamer wider out as they come up towards the home turn, and Skytrain's the widest runner. Coming around the bend now, and Stratford with the advantage of the inside went through to join on the lookout. Hyper wider out. Skytrain's on the extreme outside and starting to put his claim in, and inside it is Streamer. It's Stratford and on the lookout with Skytrain out wide coming at them. Then Streamer followed by Just Cruising, but Skytrain the mudlark. He's hit the front out wide. He got away from Streamer, and Skytrain punched out by Par's going to be too good. He revels in the ground and beat Streamer. On the lookout, got third, Stratford fourth, then Just Cruising, followed by Hyper, and then came Ideal Position, and Hood was last in.
Another stake success for Skytrain for Pete Snowden and Josh Parr, and he's beaten home Streamer. Well, she certainly wasn't disgraced. First since being involved in these wonderful horses, Redute's Choice, and now another Blue Diamond.
Out got third, Stratford.
Past 3 might have turned the corner. Skytrain. Streamer gets a big tick for that return, Rich.
Yeah, no, she was terrific, Streamer. There's no doubt about that. She was just beaten by a horse who is going terrific. Won the Canterbury Classic, ran super running second in the Expressway last.
The punters didn't rally to him a little bit more than what they did. Streamer was outstanding. She was very, very good and has come back more mature and better than ever. So all goes well for the spring for her. Bring on the Coolmore Classic.
12 months ago, he's taking her into her place. The grey is ready. Gray is ready. And the Armanasco field nearly set. Summit. And now Red Fez didn't jump all that well, and she's going back second or third last. Members Joy got away okay. She's posied third, the grey. And Meliora led early from Hamam, Members Joy, Red Fez from Gondokoro, Majem. Well, Meliora storming along by the 800 metres, and she's opened up a long lead, about 4 lengths now on Hamam. 2.5 lengths away, Members Joy. Looks to travel within herself at the moment. Track 2 lengths away by Red Fez. 2 Balaclava Lady. 1.5 Gondokoro. 2 lengths to Summer Gem. So Meliora certainly has the field strung out under Luke Nolan. 5 lengths now, Hamam. Moving to third, placing a length away is Members Joy. Starting to get a little bit busy on her now is Glen Boss, and they're 3 lengths to Red Fez. Meliora still with a long lead. 300 to go by 4 to now running on Members Joy, Red Fez, and boxing on Hamam, but they haven't got Meliora inside the 200. Still, she's 5 lengths in front. She might have pinched this. Members Joy boxing on with Red Fez and Hamam. She's getting tired, Meliora, but she's too far in front. Meliora won it by 3.5 to Members Joy, a half head to Red Fez. And they're followed just behind those Hamam, Summer Gem, Bella.
Out of front running, riding at its absolute best there. That's leading without going too slow. They've run 123.38, but it was at a constant tempo.
In 340. 150, no third.
Sammy's going to catch up with Lawrence Diakovic shortly. But the take all for the Autumn Classic coming up with a 2-horse race here. The market goes this way. 5.5 star from Super Cool. It's $2 5.5 star on course. $2.50 Super Cool.
They're all set. Racing 5.5 star brilliantly away from the stalls. He landed 3/4 of a length clear. So there's no worries about who'll take it up early. He's in front from bit of a shiller in second placing. He's about a length away at the moment. And then Subiasso getting through. Lux of Fortune is fourth. One further back, Super Cool, allowed to find his feet, and he's gone back second last. And Must Confess is last on the rail. So 5.5 star is climbing the hill towards the 1,200 metres at his own leisure. He's dictating it completely. Been a bit of a dawdle, and Glen Boss dictating on 5.5 star at the 800 metres. 3/4 bit of a shiller. 2 lengths Subiasso. On the rail, Lux of Fortune, followed then by Super Cool, the second favourite, just being ridden the patient one, and Must Confess 2.5 away. They're inside the 600, 5.5 star, a half bit of a shiller. Preble pushing on him. Subiasso coming on, now Super Cool. He eases out 3 wide, he's starting to run on. Lux of Fortune under the whip next as they cornered, where 5.5 star led by 2 now. Super Cool swooping. Then Subiasso into the straight, 5.5 star rail well. Super Cool has his momentum. He's coming home well. 5.5 star at the 200. He led by 3/4. Super Cool having a red hot go on the outside. 5.5 star a neck. Super Cool's gradually getting there. Super Cool's got there. Takes the lead, and Super Cool 3/4 5.5 star. 5 lengths away third, Subiasso. Then bit of a shiller, Lux of Fortune, and a distant last was Must Confess.
Well, terrific win here by Super Cool. And it panned out as perhaps Mark Kavanagh suggested to us pre-race, if they didn't go that hard, and they went a lot slower here than perhaps what the girls did in the previous, and that might be the difference. But Super Cool, whatever, has outstayed 5.5 star at the end of the 1,800 metres. They're 2 good 3-year-olds. They'll be clashing again. Of course, they went 1-2 in the Derby. Ultimate full day. I think it was a horse that got the Derby trip at 3.
Yeah, I don't see that happening again, with all due respect. It may, I don't know, but he's more a 2,000 metre horse.
Good straight horse, maybe.
Unbeaten.
There's been nothing much between them through the Derby, through their first up runs, and now it's on the Autumn Classic. But 63.7, the first 1,000, was too slow for 5.5 star, and gave a horse with perhaps a greater acceleration, or the modern term, turn of foot. Sure, that actually means it. We all say it a lot, but just gave it that edge.
Well, he's a stayer, 5.5 star. That's his lot in life. His stamina and his strength. And by going slowly through the middle stage of that race and allowing it to be a sprint home, which effectively it was, Glen Boss basically took away the advantage that he had over Super Cool. We saw the advantage he had in the Derby. He was just too strong. If you made that a genuine staying test, I would think that the margin may have been reversed. Take nothing away from Super Cool, though. He's a talented horse in his own right, a good middle distance prospect. I'd love to see him kept around that 2,000 metre mark rather than stretching out to a Derby, because he does fall a little bit short there in the strength stakes.
5.5 star's a terrific horse, but he's a genuine stayer. And if the pace was right on, he made it into a true staying contest, we probably wouldn't have got him. But, our horse has got a little bit better turn of foot, and he showed that today.
Yeah, Derby, of course, in the spring to 5.5 star. got revenge yesterday.
I don't know about this race. A Group 2 race for 3-year-olds at this time of year. They've got the Guineas next week, and it's a bit soon for the lead-ups for Sydney. But in saying that, I love this horse. This is a very good horse. A tip-top performance to do what he did from the back. He'll make a real good horse in the spring, this horse. I like him a lot.
Michael Rod.
Go. Okay, we're up to race 5 here at Caulfield this afternoon, and this is the Peter Young, the old St George Stakes, the Carlton Draft Peter Young. There's the tote call for you. It's $2.10 Mowingo and Mr. Moe $4.20, and they
Go jumping reasonably down on the inside. Rodriguez bounces out, finds the lead. Prairie Stars right up there with Mowingo settling along the rail third, and then Invest. They followed a clear surprise, Tanby, Mr. Mowat, and Forteller went back and onto the rails from his outside stall. So 1,400 to go, and inside, and then Invest. The speed's dropped out of it now. Then a clear surprise followed by Tanby, and at the end, Mr. Mowat on the outside and Forteller. So Rodriguez leads down the side of the course. He's 2 lengths in front. Prairie Star does the chasing, followed by Mowingo and Invest. And 2 behind them, then a clear surprise on the inside with Tanby around him, and then Forteller and Mr. Mowat. The field is bunched up. Preble slows them right up mid-race at the 600. Rodriguez a neck only on Prairie Star. Williams gets out now on Mowingo. He's away from the rail, poised with Invest on his outside, and Mr. Mowat trying to sprint home from the back in a race that's been not run to suit him. And Rodriguez gives a bit of a kick around the turn from Prairie Star. Mowingo's a length away under the whip, starting to wind up, and Forteller's made ground the fence. Rodriguez still in front at the 200. Mowingo's battling to get there. Forteller with an inside runner, then Prairie Star and Mr. Mowat. Forteller getting up to Rodriguez along the rails. Forteller, Rodriguez. Mowingo's lifting late. Mr. Mowat flashes home out wide. Forteller on the inside. He saved all the ground. Just done it again. Now, the miners, Mr. Mowat's out there with Mowingo, and Rodriguez battled away well. A great ride by Preble, just didn't get the full dividends, but he nearly pinched it.
Waller, who chalked up his 100th City winner in Sydney this afternoon, and he caps it off here with a Group 2 victory with Forteller, thanks to D. Dunn not going around a horse in very slow overall time here, 150.97. So you can imagine how slow Preble's gone. The second slower than 3-year-olds here with Super Cool, and he's still out to finish. Rodriguez going to first 1,000 metres there. That's stacked.
And
on the inside, he saved all the
well, another brilliant ride on a day of great rides by Dunn. Not going around a horse was the key to that in a slow run race. And a good result for Crispy in Sydney, but his Melbourne stable's about to build up.
Yeah, most definitely. They kind of kick off in March down there
at Caulfield during the spring. Now for the Australian Cup.
2 things about Forteller. A, I think he's a better horse in Melbourne than he is in Sydney. And B, he's an absolute specialist at 1,800 metres. I think he's won 5 races now at 1,800 metres. So he was perfectly placed there, perfectly ridden. He got the right breaks. Brett Preble on Rodriguez made an absolute mess of this race to his own benefit. It suited him perfectly to do that. It mucked it up for a couple of others there. I don't think Mr. Mowat was in any way advantaged by it. He got back in a muddling run race, and he ran on well, though at the moment is subject to a steward's inquiry for a pre-race treatment there. That's been adjourned. Mowingo got left flat-footed and was warming up late again. Tanby, didn't he run a good race from the back too? So there were some good runs in that race.
Hard race to assess. Dunn was in the zone yesterday. Everything went right for him. There's no doubt about that. And he's only second up, and he's got improvement there. I thought the run of the race was Mr. Mowing. He made a long, sustained run and did a fantastic job.
Adam Gold, we'll get to it a little while later. Gay still pressing ahead. Forteller.
Blue Diamond Day about to come up. The Calais Pacific Futurity Stakes. The 3-year-old takes on the older horses again here. And again, he's the short price favourite. All Too Hard. Now running the Vinery colours. Part owned by Neil Werrett on the day he's had already. Winning with Forteller along with Connections. And Frank Cook, he's won the first 2 races in Sydney. And winning as a shareholder. In Forteller. Calais Pacific Futurity. It's $1.80 on course. Bookmakers taking a slight chance. Green Moon $6.50 and King Mufasa at $5.50. Or into the Futurity, and he's trying to do it here with All Too Hard, the 3-year-old. Well, look, I mean, you virtually tip him anyway. You know how good he is. Cox played second when he took on the older horses in the spring, and he's almost going to be even money here.
That's the only time he's been beaten in Melbourne. He's a very good horse. They're on 109%, so they're dangling the carrot in front of the punters. It's just a matter of when the punters want to bite. The mare 16 to 14 Lights of Heaven, and the favourite 165 out to 2, and then back into $1.95.
100. They're racing in the futurity. Malaki Day a little slow to move, and the first out was All Too Hard. He'll look around for a leader, and coming over now, Glass Harmonium. He's jumped pretty well today, and he's going for the lead ahead of King Mufasa. Kunamu pushes up, and Green Moon is prominent. He's fourth on the inside, about a length off the leader only, and All Too Hard's let them all go, and he drifts back now into fifth placing, followed by Lights of Heaven, and then Shanghai Warrior, 2 lengths to Niwat and Miriam, and Malaki Day about 4 lengths away. So Glass Harmonium leads. He's 3/4 in front at the 800 metres to King Mufasa. Green Moon right behind them, 2 lengths away, third, and Kunamu's fourth the outside. They're 2.5 in front of All Too Hard. And then Lights of Heaven, Shanghai Warrior, Niwat and Miriam, and 2 lengths away, Malaki Day. Heading to the 500 metres, and Glass Harmonium is a length in front of King Mufasa. Green Moon 2 lengths away with Kunamu. All Too Hard is starting to work home now. Dunn starting to shift him along. And then came Shanghai Warrior as they cornered. Glass Harmonium led by a length to King Mufasa. Kunamu. All Too Hard's winding up, and Green Moon pushes out of a pocket. It's Glass Harmonium tackled by All Too Hard, who swept up. Green Moon got cut out of a run. King Mufasa tries to go with All Too Hard, but the 3-year-old has a dazzling turn of foot today. So away. All Too Hard won it by 3 lengths. Glass Harmonium second, Kick Mufasa third, Green Moon 4, but he was unlucky. Malaki Day got home from the tail, and then Niwat. Couple of nice staying runs there. Followed further back in the field then by Miriam and Lights of Heaven, Kunamu and Shanghai Warrior.
All too easy. Star Cult puts him to the sword here. Absolutely brilliant. Dwayne Dunn riding the peak of his form, but when you're riding a horse as good as this, you can be as confident as Dunn was there. Ava good runs, Glass of Harm.
And what we knew with Black Caviar was she developed, and today and last week showed that, you know, as a 3-year-old and 4-year-old, this horse is going to be quite dominant in his year.
Well, it's just a matter of where you go and how far.
I'm hoping we can get to the Guineas next week.
You talk about the big gamble you took. You knew that he was a good racehorse to start with.
Oh yeah, we knew that. He had the best breeding of any horse probably any state in Australia. So from our point of view, probably wasn't a big gamble, but you know, it was a lot of money, and we had to fork out with it. And I think the Vinery and the partners of Vinery have ended up in a pretty good spot.
You are too. But
we got the monkey, not the monkey off the back, but with the new owners last start. But it was quite enjoyable today. And after the race, I turned to Dad and I said, I didn't expect any different to you. He said, no, not really. But it's all right to be cocky in that. But I mean, you know, you got the best horse, but they can still get beat, and you like them to win.
Yeah, I mean, I sense that to I'm having a very good day. That was pretty painless for as far as Group 1s go.
Yeah, it certainly was. Obviously, he began really brilliantly today. That's the best he's left the machines. And our pre-race was if we could land fourth, would be perfect. I was a little bit surprised. They just sort of kept sliding inside, and the outside horses took their time to come across and just left us all in a wall. But he come back to me and relaxed nicely and just sucked into the race beautifully. Demeanour and the way he's handled himself, which has been great.
Feeling as good as anything you've ever ridden?
Oh yeah, I put a label on him early. He's probably one of the best I've ridden, and yeah, I've been waiting 20 years to find something like this, and it's finally coming to fruition.
Well done, Dwayne.
Thanks, Chris.
Another one. Futurity Stakes, and here's
with All Too Hard, but the 3-year-old has a dazzling turn of foot today. So away, All Too Hard won it by 3 lengths. Harmonium second, Kick Mufasa third, Green Moon.
What do you say? Just another sterling performance by the best 3-year-old in the land, and one of the best horses in the land here. But horses are on their way back. Doesn't matter when we win the Guineas next week. Great pleasure to see him race week in, week out. Always love to see quality racehorses racing. He's one of the best.
It was an old-fashioned flogging, wasn't it, Bruce? He just absolutely tamed that lot. And it set the scene for the day. That was the horse that you wanted to see come out and do that and have that impact and set it up for Miracles of Life and Lauren in the Blue Diamond. He was sensational. He's a superstar. It was a great win, and there were some good runs behind it too.
Yeah.
I thought Green Moon was terrific, going towards an Australian Cup. Glass Harmonium likewise. We know how good he is at Flemington, and
we saw the
further
sectionals
back
there. Malaki Day and Niwat sectionals.
Exactly. Malaki Day Niwat for a Sydney preparation, where they'll go BMWs and Sydney Cups. Couldn't ask for more.
Here's the Guineas market. Will they back up? Oh, well, it won't be there. Albrecht's going to back up. Well, not back up. He's going to have another crack. Sydney going to take it on there. Might be the Dan Vianney.
Futurity Stakes, best colt in the land, Richard.
Well, he's certainly worth what they paid for him. He's really stamped himself. I was so impressed with him at the 300-metre mark when Dwayne let him go. That turn of foot, that ability to accelerate past good horses, only top-class horses can do that, and he really stamped himself yesterday. Just a brilliant win, and I know Ron will elaborate on that. I'm trying to read the play with Green Moon here. They obviously wanted Green Moon to have a hard run because they rode him up onto the pace and made him stay there. And I thought he battled on really well. I thought his run was very, very good. Of the rest, they went as I expected them to. I don't think anything really went any better than you would expect, or perhaps even any worse either. So just a star in the making here, Ron.
Yeah, look, he was outstanding. I loved his style yesterday. Did you see him come out of the barrier? He came out of the barrier like a gazelle. He wanted to be there, which is very good for his future because that shows that he can be adaptable. When he does get back into a slowly run race, he can be ridden a lot closer. And I don't think Dwayne would be scared to do that. And in a fast run race.
Diamond coming up. The breaking news with Adrian Dunn involving Mr. Moe Yard. Miracles of Life 260 on the tote. It's a bit better than that here on course. Well, 4 into 360 is the move here.
Shoelaces press.
That constitute a little debut.
And Miracles of Life firms on course into $3.10. But Guelph also firms. She's into $3.50 in a race that the market suggests is going to be dominated by the fillies. Kona Breeze comes up for the fillies. Kona Breeze comes up. Fielder set. Racing in the diamond, Miracles of Life and Godiva Rock began well on the inside and the bowler beat them out. Away very quickly in the early stages, Metastasio and Montague as they settle down, but Metastasio leads at stablemate. About a length in front of Montague, and Gregors is going up quickly on the outside and the bowler drives through the fence in the red blinkers. A length further back, Kona Breeze, Miracles of Life about sixth on the inside, followed by Seamus Breeze, and back behind those horses, Guelph 3 wide around Dissident and Godiva Rock. And then came Quest for Peace, I Am Titanium towards the end at the 600 metres. And they're followed then by Fast and Rocking, and Cracker Roadie was last. Up to the turn, and Metastasio by a length to Gregors. A length and a half away, Miracles of Life working away from the rails, and she's poised at the bend, followed by Montague. Then Godiva Rock, and further back was Seamus Award. Guelph has pulled right to the outside. Into the straight, Metastasio led by a length and a half. Miracles of Life lets down with a run. She sprints to the front. Godiva Rock's running on pretty well, but Miracles of Life is 2 to 3 lengths in front of Godiva Rock, and then Gregors, and back behind them Fast and Rocking, but Miracles of Life scores the fairy tale win. Second, Fast and Rocking, I'd say, from Godiva Rock, and close up Gregors the inside, and they're followed by Seamus Award, Montague, Dissident, and further back Quest for Peace. Rodeo was virtually last all the way.
Have a look at those shots there. That's what it means to the family of Lawrence Diakovic. It's one of the greatest stories in the history of the Blue Diamonds, one of the great stories of racing. An absolutely perfect ride by Lauren. Off the fence ride time. You could see it presenting, and it was just awesome. Whatever happens today, and you say we were great to be here last week to see Black Caviar, but that's tremendous. It shows that everyone can play this game. We saw a $25 million colt win the previous, and now Lauren, the 29-year-old apprentice, and Dan Clark and the horsebreaker coming out to win here. Faith in racing. Tell the good stories.
Is it ever? Daniel and Lauren, they come over. Possibly ride it any better. Could you see you here behind her in the multiples? The numbers here are 10, 7, 15 and 14. 10, 7, and she just put them away.
And that's her family there on screen, and Bruce is with the family now.
Nenard and Millie, I don't think you need to say anything. But you can.
Good. I can't believe it. That is as good as you will get. As good as you get. I wish people had got kids that are jockeys and are doing apprenticeships. Just hope they could feel like I feel about my daughter. It's just unbelievable.
No, you never miss a race meeting she rides at, do you?
Not if we can help it, you know. We don't go to Lincoln, but all the others, we get in our car, we go to Port Augusta, and we'll go anywhere else with it.
And Millie, for you, what does it mean to you? Proud, obviously. Enjoy it.
So much, do you? That like I said, that ride was just 10 out of 10. She knows the horse, she knows what she's got, and she used it to her advantage. And brilliant ride, brilliant.
But on your behalf, though, you've got to give yourself a great pat in the back here for getting this filly ride after 3-4 weeks off.
Yeah, everybody, it's a hard thing to do. Keep a horse up for a month, and
Yeah, it's been a big effort. But you never lost faith. Of course, I mean, everything was happening around you with which absolutely brilliant scenes. Bruce, absolutely outstanding. Well done, mate. Thanks very much. And we'll catch up with Lawrence. Thanks very much. And we'll catch up with Lawrence Yakovic. Absolutely brilliant scenes down here. And you can see the emotion on the family.
It's amazing. She had she threw the goggles to somebody in the crowd. This will be a day that she will never, ever forget for the rest of her life. And as Bruce has been punched.
Take us through it.
Um, well, it worked out more perfect than I could have imagined, really. I jumped her out smartly, gave her a little bit of a push just to keep her handy, and sat behind the speed, and then approaching the turn, they just opened a run for me.
That's that miracle of life. There's someone looking after you there.
And I just quickly pushed it through, and then she just ran away. She's awesome.
Give a chance to, just give yourself a little.
But it could field across the line in a group line.
I think as good as that was, come home and see your mum and dad. Special.
Very special. This time I was crying too, so that was so everyone's crying, but I joined in today. So yeah, wow.
You just won the Blue Diamond.
I know, wow.
Balaclava tomorrow.
Balaclava tomorrow. I've got 5 rides.
What's the chance you're turning up there, do you reckon?
I'll turn up. I'm dedicated.
I know. Well, you're a star. Well done. You've been a great story of this race. But I reckon yesterday was just as good to be there and see the miracles of life story unfold for racing in general and for those involved in the horse and the families around them.
Absolutely incredible day at the races. I put something out on the way home as my dad was driving me home from the tracks. And I don't think I've smiled so much on a racetrack for a very, very long time. It was a terrific day. It's reality now. It's probably the best day I'll ever have on a racecourse. I mean, as a personal achievement, as a race.
Length and a half. Miracles of Life lets down with a run. She sprints to the front. Godiva Rock's running on pretty well, but Miracles of Life is 2 to 3 lengths in front of Godiva Rock, and then Gregors, and back behind them Fast and Rocking, but Miracles of Life scores the fairy tale win. Second, Fast and Rocking.
I remember stats of a victory for a first-time apprentice since the 70s. It doesn't matter. It's a great story. Miracles of Life wins unbeaten, 4 out of 4. $3.20 is your SP, beat Fast and Rocking and Godiva Rock. Sectionals are all there, but as you watched it again there, Daniel, proud of the filly and proud of what Lauren was able to do on it there.
Yeah, she's ridden as a treat, and the filly was game as they come for a little split, and she was off. Yeah,
we keep saying how small she is. Well, she's small in terms of height, but she's not a delicate little filly.
No, like I said before, if you were to put a hand on her, she's almost the perfect racehorse. Just she's small in height, but she makes up in heart.
And there's the great scenes. Racing can't do enough but tell racing about. That's the parents of Lawrence Yakovic, sisters. You don't need to say anything, Rich, do you? That's fantastic.
She's all about. Glad you cleared up. We're trying to work out who he was. No, it was great to see him. To see your daughter
benchmark. When Black Caviar hits the front and cheer, and the crowd starts to cheer, that's your AFL Grand Final like cheer for the racetrack. Yesterday, rivaled, I thought, certainly where I watched it from, the whole grandstand went bananas. And Daniel,
of attention was at Caulfield, where perfection was at its best. And it wasn't only South Australia that cheered, it was the whole country all cheered as one when Miracles of Life went across.
And we've talked about Lauren. It was a fantastic ride. We've talked about the filly and what a brave little filly she is. What about you now? I mean, your life changes. A lot more pressure now training this filly. There's a lot of expectation, but there's a lot of benefits that go with being a Group 1 trainer as well.
Yeah, I suppose there is. There is a lot more pressure, a lot of that pressure. But yeah, you would hope this might change my career a bit. I would hope so, anyway.
Well, I know you've been driving one of Goldner's floats to supplement the revenue for the stable. I mean, it must have been this must change things a little bit.
Yeah, you would. You certainly financially after yesterday, it's going to help me a lot. I don't think I've ever been on a race course where this is, of course, Lauren's mum and dad here. The dad going right off. The mum in the black is a bit more quiet there. Yeah, dad's going right off, isn't he? I had a good look around before the race as they were going into the gates, and I just looked up at the crowd. And that was just a great feeling itself. And then to see the crowd actually behind this horse and want to boot it home and then look at the scenes of her parents there, yeah, it was a very emotional day. Yeah,
Right.
right.
It was a fantastic win. There's no doubt about that. It's one of the great stories that's come out of racing for quite a long time. So we're delighted with that. In the hard light of day, Dan, small fillies, most of them don't go on. Most of them are a shooting star. They get to threes after their spring of their 3-year-old year. They find it tough. Does that weigh into the decision whether to go on and have a crack at a golden slipper? There's only one slipper. You only get one shot.
I understand that. And get stuck into him. Go on. Oh, like, you want to get stuck in. Yeah, I do want to get stuck into him. Get into him. She's not one-dimensional. And look, she's a miracle. She's a miracle. Miracles.
Horses that followed her through run second and third for this Fast and Rocking. He's a very good colt in the making, I say. Godiva Rock, she's a really nice filly who it's all happened quickly for. And look, I thought maybe a horse like Gregor's may earn a crack at a slipper lead up there. Dissident was great.
Runners coming in here for the Oakley Plate, Shane. I mean, we've privileged to see so many horses run here. Let's look at the market for the Oakley Plate. So we can have a chat to you. But that was something pretty special.
Oh, yeah. Look,
Williams, your favourite. Trying to carry on the WA tradition in this race of singing the blues, Placid Arc, Colpack. Sure he can do it.
from day one, he's looked like a star. Now he gets to prove it on a bigger stage. So far, we've had two.
Solomon was pretty.
Well, she's unbeaten. We've seen a bit of that today. Miracles of Life and Barracky over from Perth. On the Flemington win in the spring, she could certainly win it. On the win at the Valley, probably couldn't. Barracky, very well tried here on course 350 into 320.
It's ready for action here. Oh, hello. Shamble Wind, I think, has gone off in the gates. She sat down in the stalls. She's back on all fours, but she was laid up in the stalls. Here's Shamble Wind. So laid up in the stalls. Here's Shamble Wind. So high drop. Barracky tried to burrow through the gates, and he's going to be vetted. So the first and second favourites in the Oakley Plate are out of the gates and being vetted. Barracky, I think you'll find it's coming out. I'm waiting for the official notification. Still haven't heard what's happening with Shamble Wind. Takes you back to the Maldivian Caulfield Cup scenario when all of the drama with horses coming out at the start of a big race. Yep. 4:45 Vet's advice. Barracky is officially out. And Shamble Wind's fit to run. Thank you. So the favourite's out. Barracky is out at 4:45. And she's on its way. Shamble Wind jumped well on the inside. Adebisi got away very quickly. And in the early stages, going out fast, Adebisi driving towards the lead. And also Mrs. Onassis away, flying us up and settling outside of the front runner. Sea Lord right in behind them, followed by undeniably fourth over on the outside. They're being closely followed in the field. Rescue Mission, Shamble Wind about 60 inside, and then unanimously followed by Facile Tigre as they went by the 600 metres. Free return. Outside Spirit of Boom and then Lone Rocket a long way back, 2 to 3 lengths away. Hortensia and Wirram. Adebisi led coming around the turn from Mrs. Onassis. They're into the straight now. Then undeniably Rescue Mission. Back behind those horses. Shamble Wind going for an inside run. And then Sea Lord at the 200. Adebisi and Mrs. Onassis from Shamble Wind. Rescue Mission undeniably. Sea Lord don't know where to look, but Mrs. Onassis. Facile Tigre flashing home. Mrs. Onassis from Adebisi. Facile Tigre. Mrs. Onassis won the Oakley Plate. Facile Tigre second. Spirit of Boom and unanimously are up in a photo for third with undeniably and Adebisi. That's a real blanket go for that third place. Lone Rock Rescue Mission followed by Celia. Shamble Wind wilted out on the last furlong and Wirram first last year, last today.
Wasn't even going to run the race until earlier this week after a track gallop on Tuesday morning. And Mrs. Onassis keeps a remarkable record at 1,100 metres intact here. Only beaten, well, she's had 8 wins, 7 of this trip. What a remarkable race. Lose the favourite at the start, Barracky. The sub, there it goes again. That's Shamal Wind who had every possible chance, but it was under a cloud at the start as well. And then they jump.
And she worked the reverse way at Rose Hill last Friday morning, and the work was okay, nothing good, but then I spoke to Claire Sunday morning about not coming. Claire rung us. She spoke to Jerry Harvey about 11 o'clock on Monday morning, and Jerry said, "Don't give up so easy. You were set up for the race in November. Don't give up so easy." He said, "Gallop her in the morning, see what you think." Well, she's getting better as she's getting older. I think it'll.
He played Thistle Tiger second. Spirit of Boom and
If an Oakley plate, they didn't go like Oakley platers. Mrs. Onassis outside out of BC at a moderate speed, and they've been dashing home horses out the back. The Hortensias and co. Free returns have all run okay, but when you're up on the speed like this mare Ken Gerald, you keep yourself out of trouble. And 8 wins, 7 of those at this trip.
It surprised me yesterday, Bruce. She was about halfway through the race, and I think the speed they were not going, that she was going to take a lot of beating because I knew she'd kick off the corner, but I was surprised.
He sums up right there, Shark. And what happens if he had run and got beaten? Could you say, well, should we have? And did that affect him? And he's still unbeaten.
Same scenario yesterday with Shamal Wind. Same thing, played up in the gates and obviously passed fit to run, but reading the stewards report, Glenn Boss, his excuse was she was reluctant to race. So clearly there was an issue there. And really, when you think about the horses that you see,
he's got that great fresh record. The big sensation in that race, of course, was the late scratching of Barraquee at the barrier.
Yeah, look, that was a few incidents there. We had Shamal Wind going off in the barrier, causing a ruckus. They took her out. She was eventually let run, and then I read in the steward's report after she had an abrasion on her eye. I don't know what happened there. And then Barraquee, another incident, a horse kicked the back of the stalls. Then Barraquee tried to burrow under, and he's hit his head, and obviously he's had to come out. Look, it's a hard job being, a vet and making these decisions, especially in big Group 1s.
Well,
what I found, look, a bunch finish, too good, the winner, far too good.
The Newmarket undeniably goes there. Warham's pulled up with sore joints, really shuffly this morning, so a bit of a question mark where it goes. Sharma Wind's got that cut above the eye, but is okay. I'll get to Barraquee.
Race last year was won by Piero before he did go on and win the Golden Slipper. Not only that, he won the Triple Crown. He's, of course, coming up in the next race, the Hobartville Stakes resuming. But here we have Charlie Boy, the favourite for the Silver Slipper for this year. He's currently $5.50 into $4.86.
And they're off and racing now. Coming out well on the inside there, Kurashia. All the talk went up on the outside quickly and headed it, followed by Sweet Idea. Never Can Tell jumped well, but Robles easing back now to try and find a spot, followed by Shahad and then Regimental Pride. Brilliant Biss was next. Charlie Boy's back about midfield. He didn't show a great deal of early pace. Then Romantic Moon, Whiskey All Round, and well back was Thompson, last of all his citations. As they come down the side here, Kurashia and all the talk, they're burnt right away. They're cutting at each other, this pair, and they've opened up about 4 or 5 lengths on Sweet Idea. Regimental Pride, Never Can Tell was next, followed by Shahad, and then Charlie Boy pulled to the outside, about 8 off the lead. Whiskey All Round saved ground near the inside as they draw down now with about 300 to go. All the talk on the outside and Curacao on the inside. They're fighting it out, but they're starting to come back to them. Sweet Idea's running on, and Whiskey All Round is changing course. It's All the Talk, Sweet Idea and Whiskey All Round. Sweet Idea on the outside hit the lead. It's in front of Whiskey All Round, and Sweet Idea's about to head in front, and she'll win the Silver Slipper. Sweet Idea has beaten in second spot Whiskey All Round, and then came in behind them third Charlie Boy, followed further back by All the Talk and Thump, and then Regimental at the field.
Gay Waterhouse takes out the Patnack Farm Silver Slipper for 2013. Sweet Idea for Jimmy Cassidy, the filly. Second in the Magic Millions 2-year-old Classic has come out and taken out one of the feature races here this afternoon.
A very impressive win there by Sweet Idea.
Outstanding. Impossible to beat today, and more importantly, she'll be impossible to beat on Golden Slipper Day. Top class. The fillies have got it over the colts at this point in time, and she proved it yet again. She's raced in Queensland. Anyone who doesn't take their horses to the Magic Millions must have eggs for brains. There's a beauty about going up there. It gives them a chance to sort of really have a good hit out. She did that. She earned money for the owners, and today she...
For the place, 250 Whiskey All Round and 240 Charlie Boy. And Charlie Boy, he did run on nicely into...
Here has beaten in second.
Runner-up in the Magic Millions wins the Silver Slipper, and we'll hear from Gay shortly, the runner-up from Queensland. Very good. They play the late field.
Shio went 100 miles an hour, but I still think it's not a 1,200-metre horse either. Yeah, Charlie Boy was terrific, but he's obviously a pretty good filly, and I It's going to be a triple dead eat because Gage declared another one to win the slipper.
Good silver slipper at Rosehill yesterday, and Sweet Idea, she'd run second in the Magic Millions. Where does she fit into the golden slipper picture?
Oh, look, she's certainly in the mix. She's one quality filly. She's a real good sort. She was a fighting second in the Magic Million. She's strong. She's tough. She enjoys her racing. I think Gay may have had a grandmother moment there when look, she forgot about Overreach, saying that she'll be there on an old slipper. Anyway, look.
In the Lonro, so watch for Safeguard next week.
We're up to another one of our feature races. Just to let you know, Richie Calendar just been taken to get better. The Hobartville for the 3-year-olds, Piero. We see the return, the champion 2-year-old. Of course, we know he was placed in the Caulfield Guineas and the Cox Plate as well. And he is the favourite, $1.85 now into $1.80. Next best, $5. The unbeaten Rebel Dane, $8 for Poissier. He won the 2-year-old Triple Crown here in Sydney. He's trialled well and he appears for the first time with no blinkers.
Yeah, certainly looks very good here today.
Set to go, and they're off and racing. Rebel Dane came out slowly. He's gone straight back to last. Mulazem beat them out and flew out, in fact, and broke away early from Piero and Poissier going forward from the wide alley. Ashakan posing up about fourth on the inside. Then came Tatra, followed by Honorius. Rebel Dane is picking up ground via the inside. He'll settle about midfield now. Then came It's a Done Deal, and a long way back we've got Solomon Proverb hitting the first bend, and the leader Mulazem by 2. Poissier was next from Ashakan. Piero now drops back to 4th, so he's got the back of Poissier, and then came Rebel Dane, who's made up ground into 5th spot. Further back was Tatra, who's covering a little bit of ground on the outside of It's a Done Deal, is being hard ridden, then Solomon back on the fence, followed by Honorius, and Proverb is last of all. Mulazem led with 600 to go, led by 2.5 on Poissier. Ashakan's hard ridden, followed by Piero, starting to move up on the outside. Rebel Dane was next as they make the home turn, and then Tatra. It's Mulazem got them strung out as they come into the straight, led by a couple of lengths on Poissier and Ashakan. Nash has pulled Piero right to the outside, and Rebel Dane starting to come through nearer the inside, about 4 or 5 across the track, but Piero out wide's hit the lead. Rebel Dane on the inside's chasing him. It's Piero in front from Rebel Dane. Piero, the Sydney champs, in front. Rebel Dane on the inside, ahead away. Rebel Dane. Piero won it. Piero has won it and beaten Rebel Dane. Poissier got 3rd, and then came It's a Done Deal, followed by Proverb, and then further back Ashakan and Mulazem, followed further back by Solomon, and then
Piero, the Golden Slipper winner, he returns here as an autumn 3-year-old, and he is a winner. He's taken out the Hobartville Stakes, Piero. By Lonro, this colt for Gay Waterhouse and Nashra Willer, he is at his absolute peak here, even though he's first up, even though he was against the unbeaten Rebel Dane. And honest with him, look at Nashra Willer having to Piero.
What an outstanding horse. First up, 1,400 metres, first time without the blinkers on. You know, really, really exciting. And to take nothing away from the horse that ran 3rd in the race either. Was he a big, strong colt? You know, probably just needed that sort of hit.
The 2-year-old Triple Crown in Sydney, and he lost no admirers with his runs in the Caulfield Guineas, of course, behind.
He's a bigger, stronger colt, I think. But I'm amazed how much improved he'll take out of this run. Right on. Thanks a lot.
Rebel Dane on the inside, ahead away. Piero and Rebel Dane. Piero won it. Piero has won it and beaten Rebel Dane.
Back in the winner's stall, bravely where he belongs to since the trip to Melbourne, where his first defeat, of course, in the Caulfield Guineas, and then brave in the Cox Plate, were all too hard, beat him home. Again there, backable yesterday. Bookies took him on first up at the 7 furlongs mark in the heavy ground, but like a champ, he responded.
He did. Look, Rebel Dane had the race fitness on his side, and it looked like it could have gone either way there, the last 50, but a champion pulls out something at the end of a race, Richard, doesn't it? And he certainly pulled something out, Piero.
And without the blinkers as well, being first up on a heavy track, we know how good he is. But, yeah, look, Rebel Dane's Gary Portelli's excited, and so he should be. I know he had the fitness edge, but he got so close. I thought Prasia was good until his condition knocked out. And I thought It's a Done Deal's on track for another tilt at a derby. He was terrific.
Yeah, well, he hasn't grown much, but it just might have been at the end of his tether when he got to Melbourne after coming through that.
But if he makes it a clash sharp with All Too Hard, and they're both at the peak of their powers, and we saw there's not that much between them in the spring in Melbourne.
The edge during the spring, but geez, that's the sort of clash that racing needs, particularly after we're getting over those bad news stories. We've had a good run of good news stories. Another one would be great.
Well, that was fantastic yesterday.
Oh, look, there were some great runs in that race, and it's certainly a race you could replay, because that's going to be one of the form races of the autumn. You know, like Rebel Dame was just so good, and Prasier, well, he'll improve out of sight with that hit out under his belt. He's a force in anything he contests, whether even a Doncaster he could be competitive in. And the stayers were all good, you know, Solemn and It's a Done Deal and Proverb, they were all great. So beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but that's a great start to our autumn, that race. It was a serious race.
Derby yesterday, Fillies again. Last year, Silent Achiever won the Derby. This year it was Habibi, ridden by Vinnie Colgan.
Is coming after Habibi's 2 lengths away. She's winding up. Carlsy Berg flicks Habibi. Reason of three, then St. Chet. Flicks going to Carlsy Berg. Habibi's about to stop their stuff. Here she comes. Habibi. Flicks is trying ever so hard on the inside. But the Derby goes north. She is the Derby, baby. Habibi won it.
I'm not sure I can get that. But anyway, runners coming to the yard here for the Guineas Group 1. Australian Guineas, fantastic race. Looking forward to it. Open race, plenty of betting moves. Of course, all this happened after the scratching of All Too Hard this morning. He's gone. Let's not worry about him. Let's worry about what's here and see if we can have a look at them in the yard and find you the winner. There's the market. 5:20 the field. Philippi on course. I think it's wider. I think it's It's $6.50 a Jeep. Head of $7 Albrecht and Philippi, who's just firmed to $6.50.
High Shot jumps away okay. Havastan straight out the back in the early part. Grand Emperor begins quickly with High Esteem. Albrecht right up there with Furlax. And now a Jeep comes over and finds the lead as they settle into stride, and Sheer Talent from the outside whipped up and set a length away second. So Furlax is third and Practicalities a half a length away with Bass Straight. And with those is the filly You're So Good. A further length and a half, Subiasso, followed by Albrecht and Philippi third last. Followed by Hosting as they put the 1,000 metres behind them, and Havastan is last. Jeeb leads, Sheer Talent 3/4 second, Furlax right behind them, followed by Practicality. Force Command on a wider run, 2 lengths away, then Grand Emperor running about 7th on the inside of High Esteem. And out wider, You're So Good, the filly. She's followed then by Bass Straight, High Shot, Albrecht, who's got a fair way back now, followed by Hosting and Subiasso. Philippi near last on the fence, and Avastan's pulled to the outside. Into the straight, and Jeeb the leader, but a length and a half in front of Sheer Talent. Furlax right behind them, and they're followed then by Force Command. Bass Straight searching for a run through the field. Philippi still a long way back inside the 200, and Sheer Talent raced up to Furlax, who's got up on the inside. They've claimed to Jeep. Here comes You're So Good finishing on down the outside. It's Furlax who's hit the front, though, down on the inside. Furlax 3/4 Sheer Talent, and You're So Good, and Furlax has won it by about 3/4 of a length to You're So Good, and Sheer Talent's run third. Then came Havastan and Bass Straight. Back behind those was Philippi, and they were followed by a Jeeb and back at the tail of the field.
What about that? From Benalla to Sale to a Group 1. I don't think that's been number 4 in the history of this race, the Australian Guineas. Furlax for S. Basta. Didn't go around a horse. Brilliant ride. Basta back in the winner's stall in Group 1 company in Australia. You're So Good, fantastic. Sheer Talent did some work early and battled on. I was steaming from back here. But
I galloped him on Tuesday, and I put the blinkers on and I sat him just back off a horse, an ordinary horse, but I sat him back off it, and he gave me a great feel. And I thought, gee, we probably should have a crack at it, but I was worried obviously about All Too Hard.
Benalla, Sale.
Out of a nice Masque mare, and so we've got to be a bit careful where we place him. We've got Sydney coming.
To the a path less travelled for a horse from Echuca through Benalla through Sale and straight to a Group 1 4th career start.
They couldn't find any horse that had gone from country racing without going to the city before getting to winning a Group 1. So he's a very, very promising horse. He's the best.
$180,000 for Jonathan Munns, a yearling, and worth multiple times that now as an entire stallion prospect, but a great racehorse. Basta got time for the trip. I was a bit clearly Havastan and Philippi moving forward away from the obvious winner. Horses that ran well.
Yeah, races over more ground for both those horses. Liked both of their runs. Bass Straight, as Chad Schofield touched on, that horse has got some raw talent there. He just needs to be knocked into shape a little bit and hone that racing craft.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. It's going to be another level. It'll be interesting to see which ones come to Sydney for what races, because they're going to take on Piero, Prasier, and All Too Hard. It's another rung up the ladder.
So it's amazing.
Welcome back to Australia, Stephen Baster. For trainer Jim Conlon Furlax, he had won 3 out of 3. He had won 3 out of 3 prior to that race yesterday. Obviously easier races, but there's a Group 1 for him.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's hard to line him up, and I'm really finding it hard to assess the race. But I'm not going to sit here and knock a horse that's won 4 out of 4, including a Group 1. Look, he did a great job there. I'm interested in Jim's comments after the race, being by Pentyre, that he's going to keep him fresh for like 1400 and maybe a Stradbroke at 1400. I was thinking more he might be a Rosehill Guineas type of horse, but Jim knows his horses well, and maybe that's for the best interest of a horse now to keep him fresh and run him over these short courses. Bad luck for young Daniel Steakhouse, who was suspended. He'd won 3 straight on this horse, and he probably would have been on him yesterday. And but Stephen Baster fills in. He's been in rare form since coming back from Singapore, or being sent home from Singapore, I should say.
He's put that behind him, hasn't he?
He should be thanking the stewards from Singapore, because he's really on a roll, and to win a big Group 1 yesterday, good luck to him.
I think he's thanking them.
You're so good. Nice run from the filly, and look, can't say much about the others, although Philippi got a mile back.
Philippi. Now, I want to say about the winner, he's the first Group 1 winner I've seen go to Echuca to break his maiden, then to Benalla, then to Sale, and then go to a Group 1 at Flemington and win. Look, I've known Jimmy a long time. He's a good friend of mine, but he's an interesting character, Jim, and he will do things that are a little bit out of the box. So I'm not reading anything into that too much, but Philippi. Look, I don't know whether they were the tactics given to Brad Rawiller or they were Brad Rawilla's own tactics, but they were the worst tactics in the race. That was a dreadful. Well, I don't know whether it was a ride or whether it was a or whether the instructions were given to him. Jumped from barrier 6, and before he knew it, he was at the tail of the field. I even thought I saw Brad Rawiller look round. And he thought, "Oh, there's no one behind me."
He did get a squeeze at the start, although still he was up running third defence.
There was no urgency. He jumped a reasonably good gate to get into at least the middle of the field somewhere. Before he knew it, he was 20 lengths off the leader.
The other horse to get put out of the race early was Albrecht, who copped that interference. I think Stephen Baster may have got a suspension out of that, and I thought Havastan was pretty good. There were good runs in suspension out of that, and I thought Havastan was pretty good. There were good runs in the race. Whether they're going to be real Group 1 performers of the future, which that race has shown up in the past, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.